You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper than again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 10th part of What If Naruto Enters Undertale. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Clover grew close. Naruto's mind races for a way to calm their opponents down enough to spare them, then he recalls something. Hang on, that Rudin told us that Clover likes cute boys, sports and trees. In that case, he selects ACT and has Rousei ask them a question. What kind of boys do you like? Asked Rousei curiously. That question seemed to trigger Clover as the heads were quite eager to answer it. Cute ones. Nice ones, like I am. None, I mean, all. Seem like Clover enjoyed talking about that. Clover then conjures several club-shaped objects overhead which start to rapidly shoot three-way spreads of bullets down at the two. Naruto and Rousei darts from side to side to evade the incoming projectiles, then Naruto conjures a medium-sized shield of determination to block the ones that came too close for comfort. The attacks eventually stopped, and the reason being that the heads of Clover have started arguing amongst themselves. Clover is bickering with herself. Naruto called out to the Darkner, "Hey, what kind of sports do you like?" This immediately causes the head to stop arguing since the Lightner is asking them about something that they like. I wanna eat a football. Sports. My favorite food. Oh. I love you too. Okay, Naruto sweat drops at their response, already feeling sorry for the Rudin who's working HRD on a present that will soon be eaten. Clover hums like an out-of-tune choir. The Darkner is gradually calming down, but enough to sway her from attacking again, which she conjures more of those clubs from before, but this time they're being launched at them. Naruto and Rousei were preparing to evade them only to be taken by surprise when they start to explode, shooting 3 white pellets each time. The duo got hit by the first cluster of the pellets, but they managed to gather themselves and evade the next incoming projectiles. Reflectio. Naruto claps his hands together and concentrates as individual glyphs appear beneath his and Rousei's feet as they glow, granting them mild health regeneration. Excuse us, but what would you like for your birthday? Asked Rousei politely. Let's have a nice chat. You idiot. Ask for a gift. Just discuss our likes. Seeing the beginnings of an argument, Naruto quickly acted. Then how about trees? What are your opinions about them? I love the smell of trees. Oh. Me too. Pollen makes me, sure. Clover seems to be getting along with herselves. Naruto could clearly see that the 3 heads are now calmly cooperating with each other, even more so with how he's seeing a rainbow appearing behind them, meaning that he and Rousei could spare them, which they did. You won. Got 0 EXP and $102. The now calmed Clover bade the duo farewell, but not before inviting them to her place for the birthday party. Before they started walking, Rousei tapped on his shoulder to gain his attention. Hey Naruto. What type of girls do you like? She asked him with her mouth hiding behind her scarf. Little did she know where she's about to put herself into. Naruto was slightly taken aback by this sudden question since he wasn't expecting it at all. He doesn't even know how to answer that question, as in his mind, his first thought was Frisk, who's always nice and a pacifist that doesn't enjoy violence, which was clearly evident with how he has always been the one to protect, not to mention cute. Next is Muffet. She's basically a flirt and has a mischievous personality which he couldn't deny liking, even more so given how attractive she is. Then there's Red, who like Frisk is just as cute as she has the personality of a tsundere, but also a kind heart who protects her friends that attracts him to her. Now he doesn't know how he feels about Chara considering she's a ghost, but he supposes after seeing her what she actually looks like, she's kinda cute too, but the genocidal mindset she used to have made him think less of her up until now. Still, Naruto was unsure on what to say, for he couldn't decide, especially how downright cute and appealing Ralse is, not to mention fluffy. He'll just be honest since they're just friends. Honestly, I like girls for who they really are. I don't really have a preference of who's my type. It is what's on the inside that truly counts for me, Naruto said, wanting to be as honest as possible. Ralse felt a warm feeling when he said that, a flutter in her stomach while feeling heat on her cheeks. "IICG, good to know, ha, ha," she responded nervously but was happy for some reason, she can't explain why, but she felt happy to hear that. It was only meant to tease him, as she just thought it was a good idea to ask that, but something about his answer felt like it made her happy but confused at the same time. Perhaps it's something related to her. Naruto doesn't know what's going on with Ralse but decided to just let it be. Anyway, after their little talk, the two left the puzzle area so they can continue on with their journey. They arrive at a bake sale area as Naruto sees a save point, to which he immediately went over to interact with it. In the heart of the woods, a bake sale stands quietly. The power of reoccurring bake sales shines within you. Save. Yes/no. Naruto confirms his save file as of now. He can clearly see the naming due to looking at the bake sale stands in the area. While he was doing his thing, he's unaware that Ralse has been watching him doing the same thing, as if he's interacting with something that she can't see. Do humans always touch the air like that? It's like he sees something there to interact with, but I can't see what he's doing, thought Ralse, since this isn't the first time she's witnessed him doing this a few times. It still confuses her that he's doing that, but wondering what it is that only he can see. "Hey, Ralse. You wanna get something from the bake sale stands?" Naruto asks her a question to see if she's interested in checking the stands out. "Oh. Of course, I would love to," she said happily as the two went over to the stands, which the first one was a Ruden in a green bake sale stand. "Interested in a Choco Diamond? All proceeds go to Ruden relief funds, I guess." "It's only 40G, said Ruden, offering them Choco Diamonds that cost 40G each. Naruto took out his wallet and counted the money that he and Ralse collected throughout their previous battles and leftover ones that they saved, which he has over 608 dark dollars, surprising him a bit now that he checks how much that they have collected to this point. Whoa! 608 dark dollars. That's quite a lot. Good thing we are spending less. It's good to let it build up so we have something left over to spend, thought Naruto, feeling pleased with how much they have due to getting in so many fights, which resulted in earning hard-earned cash. Naruto went ahead and bought the Choco Diamond from the Ruden, which was added to his items section of his inventory. "Thanks, I guess," said Ruden, who doesn't seem much happy about it. Naruto raised an eyebrow as to why it isn't all that happy for a successful sale, so he decided to give it a tip. "Here, take the extra tip money for yourself," he said as he gave it $10, which surprised Ruden at his kindness. It thanked him genuinely for his kindness, which he has no problem with since he's just helping it out. He's so thoughtful, thought Ralse as she watched him give $10 to Ruden just to cheer it up, which was very nice of him. Never has she felt happier that she's partnered with Naruto. She watches him walk over to the pink stand with a Hathi running it as he goes over to see what it sells. It complimented Naruto with a smile and offers a heart's donut, to which proceeds go to Hathi's health. He reluctantly accepts it, which made Hathi seem happy about it as he took the heart's donut, which was also added to his items. However, he bought another just to pay after receiving the heart's donut for free. His kindness never stopped to amaze her. Naruto truly is an amazing person. "Greetings, gentle clowns. May we interest you in a Lancer cookie?" Lancer spoke as he saw Naruto buying from others. "All proceeds go to kicking your ass," Suzy said, smiling. The blonde merely rolled his eyes at that as Ralse came over to him. "It's a mere 40G, Naruto just simply shook his head, not wanting to buy their Lancer cookie. "Hey. You can't not buy from us. Hey dumbass. It's for a good cause." Suzy said loudly, causing a bit of a scene and drawing attention from others. Don't care, I'm not buying, said Naruto, refusing to buy anything from them. He suddenly felt Ralsei touching his arm as he looked at her. Let's just buy one, Naruto, if it'll make them happy, Ralsei asked politely. Naruto frowns a bit, seriously. Do I have to? Please. She gave him a smile while asking him again of her request. He just sighed at this as he could never say no to that face. The things I do for being such a nice guy, he thought while taking out $40 and giving it to them while purchasing their Lancer cookie which was added to his items. He, thanks for getting cheated by us. Suzy exclaimed, laughing. Now we may fund our illicit plans, said Lancer as they ran off and went to the Hathy shop to buy a Heart's donut. Naruto knew this would happen and he's not happy about it. Still, what a waste of $40 on a Lancer cookie that he wasn't interested in buying. Well, it's too late now. Ralsei watches him, seeing that he's very displeased with this while taking deep breaths in order to calm himself down, which she understands that he's doing this for her. She's happy that he's trying, but it also makes her sad to see him look like he's gonna lose it at any moment due to Suzy messing with them. Hopefully things will get better soon, she hopes. Are you okay? Ralsei asked in concern for her friend. Yeah, I am, for the time being. Let's just find out exactly why they went and bought a donut as part of their plan, Naruto said after calming himself down while keeping his temper in check. Times like this he really wishes that he hadn't inherited his mom's temper. Ralsei understands as they went over to them as they're debating on something after buying a Heart's donut. Alright, so how should we split this jelly donut? Suzy asked with a grin. I'll take the BLD, and you take the skin. Lancer suggested while sporting a goofy smile. If I may ask, how does a donut fit into your plan? Ralsei asked curiously when she and Naruto came over to them. All real plans allocate for delicious treats. Sounds like you need to go to plan school, Ms. Toothpaste, Suzy grinned, giving her a nickname. Ho ho. Yes. Earn a second doctorate, smart genius. Lancer joined in as they laughed in the process. Am I being made fun of, thought Ralsei, looking rather confused here. Especially the nickname Suzy just gave her. Naruto just shook his head at the two, for they were clearly making fun of Ralsei, which he doesn't like one bit. He decided it's time to go since he rather doesn't want to stick around here anymore. Come on Ralsei, let's just go so they can enjoy their donut. We have more important matters to attend to, he said while patting on her shoulder. Oh okay, she agreed since she decided not to dwell on the fact she was just being made fun of, so they just let Suzy and Lancer be. They were about to walk away, they heard them talking while still debating on what to do with the donut. Hey, how about we just, split it in half? Suzy suggested with a grin. Yes. A wonderful evil new idea. Innovation is the spice of vice. Lancer agreed with her idea as he split the donut in half, then they enjoyed their treat. What a strange bunch those two are, thought Naruto, he'll never know what goes on in their heads. Before they leave the bake sale area, Naruto just remembered there was another path to the left upwards that they didn't check. So he quickly went over there with Ralsei following suit as they entered a room, where they came across a darkner who has the appearance of an anthropomorphic toy hammer. Their head is an axe-shaped red hammer. Their eyes and handle are yellow, with said handle acting as their neck. Their body is also red and they wear a kimono which is purple on the left side and dark green on the right side, with their arms crossed. Well. I am the Smith Malius. I can fix anything. Weapons, armor, I can even fix you. Well, what will it be? The now named Malius asked after seeing the two coming over to his place. You can fix anything. Really? Naruto asked, feeling a bit skeptical about that claim. Indeed I can. Just tell me what it is that needs fixing and I'll work my magic, it said in full confidence. Naruto was debating on this as he doesn't actually have any items that need fixing, except. I wonder, he trailed off in thought as he pulled up his inventory menu and went over to key items and then took out a broken cake out of nowhere, which Ralsei immediately recognized what it was. Naruto. Is that the broken cake from Top Chef that Suzy ruined? Why do you have that with you? Ralsei asked in confusion, wondering why he had something like that with him. Well, I may have borrowed a piece of it from Top Chef while you two weren't looking, Naruto said nervously, practically admitting that he stole it behind their backs. You what? Naruto. Ralsei was genuinely surprised to hear he just stole this from Top Chef while looking at him angrily in a cute way. What? Look, I know what I did was wrong and I didn't like it either, but think about this for a moment. If what MangaMuse said is true, that they can fix anything, maybe they can fix the cake. Once it's fixed, we can bring it back to Top Chef looking brand new as if it was never eaten in the first place, Naruto explained to Ralsei to make it seem less bad as he worded it. Ralsei seems to understand as she understood his intentions, which was actually very thoughtful of him doing so. Oh, I see, that's very nice and considerate of you doing so. But still, stealing is wrong, Naruto. I know, I'll apologize while explaining to Top Chef later, but to be fair, if it wasn't for this, we would be using this to heal ourselves in battle in case we're in a tight spot. Guess that's not necessary now, Naruto said while feeling a bit sheepish. Naruto. Ralsei certainly didn't like how he stated it like that. I was joking. Maybe. Ralsei sighs at this, but she gives him a friendly smile at him for being so thoughtful despite what he did was wrong, but at least he had his reasons for doing it. Anyway, Naruto showed the broken cake to MangaMuse, which. The smith spoke with gusto. That cake is seething with energy. You must let me fix it. Haha. Let's feel my technique. After putting down the cake for them to do their thing, the smith began smashing its head on the cake while making a squeaky noise like it's not doing anything to it, but to Naruto and Ralsei's surprise, the broken cake was actually fixed, looking completely brand new like it had just been brought out of the oven. The broken cake became the top cake. This is truly a tremendous cake. Use its power wisely, MangaMuse said after fulfilling their task of fixing the cake. Wow, I can't believe it's actually fixed, Naruto said in pure amazement as he now stares at the now named top cake. He could sense its overwhelming power. This is perfect, Naruto. With this cake now all fixed up, we can bring this back to Top Chef since it's his life's work, Ralsei suggested while marveling at the cake. Oh, trust me, we're definitely bringing this back to him, that's for sure, he said assuredly, intending to bring this back to Top Chef to cheer the guy up. Naruto stored the top cake back to his key items while looking at MangaMuse. Thanks for fixing the cake for us. Guess you're right, you definitely can fix anything. Ha ha ha, it is my pleasure. Anything else that needs fixing? MangaMuse asked, which Naruto doesn't have anything that needs fixing, but he was curious about how the smith managed to fix the cake just by slamming its squeaky toy hammer-like head. Not really, but I am curious about how you fix the cake. Can you try fixing us too? Naruto asked, while Ralsei looked at him in confusion. Naruto, we're perfectly fine, Ralsei stated, not sure where he's going with this. Just go along with it. I'm just curious about how MangaMuse restored the cake just by slamming its head. I've got to see this for myself, he whispered to Ralsei, explaining his reasons, which she couldn't help but be curious as well, so she willingly went along with Naruto's plan. Oh. Okay. She whispered back as she followed suit of his plan. Your body is a weapon, too. You must take care of it from time to time. Haha. Let's feel my technique, said the smith with gusto once again as MangaMuse slammed its head onto both Ralsei and Naruto, which was a strange yet unique feeling that they never experienced in their lives. But somehow, in some way, everyone's HP was restored despite it wasn't necessary to begin with. Well. Don't you feel better after a nice massage? Haha. MangaMuse said, enjoying fixing them to the best of the smith's abilities. Yeah. It was something, Naruto said unsurely while feeling somewhat uncomfortable, but it was something at least. Ralsei just nodded as she too is also uncomfortable with this, but she just thanked the smith for fixing them. Anyways, after the two bid MangaMuse farewell, they returned back to the bake sale area while noticing that Suzy and Lancer are no longer there anymore, which meant they left for some time now, not like Naruto cares about what they're doing at all right now. Alright, let's bring the top cake back to Top Chef, but it'll be a long journey back to the fields of hopes and dreams, unless there's a nearby warp door we can use to get us there, said Naruto, knowing it's gonna be a while to return back to the fields of hopes and dreams just to return a cake. Oh. You mean like that one over there, said Ralsei after catching his attention while pointing at something. Naruto looked over to where she's pointing at, and to his great delight, it was another warp door, which meant they have a way to warp themselves to the field of hopes of dreams without having to walk all the way back there. Why yes, Ralsei, I believe so. Good eye, buddy, said Naruto with a foxy grin, praising her for doing a good job at finding one of the warp doors. It was nothing, really, said Ralsei with a smile as a small blush appeared on her face after being praised by Naruto. Naruto just smiled at how bashful she is just by being praised. How adorably cute. Well, now we have a way to warp over to the field of hopes and dreams. Are you ready to bring the top cake back to Top Chef? Ready, she said with enthusiasm. Naruto nodded, then he interacted with the warp door, which a familiar text popped up in front of him. It's a door. Where will you go? Field. Bake sale. Forest. He obviously selected field, for he wasted no time picking a location as he opened the warp door. Then he and Ralsei entered through the door before closing it behind them, and in no time, they found themselves back at the fields just like they wanted to. Alright, we're back at the fields. Now, let's not waste any time and find Top Chef to return the cake to him, said Naruto, who's determined to cheer Top Chef up. Okay. Ralsei said, who's equally determined to cheer up Top Chef as well. Then the two immediately left to go find him. It took a while to reach Top Chef from a long journey back, but eventually they returned back to see the yellow chef, who's still grieving over his ruined cake. He took notice of Naruto and Ralsei's sudden return while he's still looking sad as ever. Oh, it's you two. I thought I asked you two not to come back. Naruto sighed as he spoke. Look, Top Chef, we're really sorry for what Suzy caused you, but I can assure you, you'll be happy again for what we brought for you. And what might that be? Unless you can magically restore my cake, I doubt there's nothing you two can do to fix this. This was my life's work I put so much effort into, said Top Chef, who's not feeling well at all. I know and we understand, but trust me, what we're about to show you, you'll be in for a surprise, he said, which made Top Chef look confused by what the Lightner meant by that. As Naruto took out the top cake from his inventory, Top Chef was understandably shocked and surprised at what the Lightner was holding in front of him. Margarita. That cake. It's seething with power. It's my cake, isn't it? Top Chef asked, to which Naruto confirmed to the chef that it is indeed his cake. Did you repair it? He once again nodded while speaking. Yeah, but to be honest, I might have snuck a piece from your broken cake while you were still grieving over it while my pal here Ralsei was cheering you up. It was meant to be a healing item to use during in dangerous battles, but after coming across a darkner named MangaMuse, the smith somehow managed to repair it, but much better. So for what is worth, I'm sorry I kinda stole a piece of your ruined cake, but it was for a good reason. After listening to the Lightner's explanation, Top Chef understandably felt a bit upset that he admittedly stole a piece of his ruined cake, but the fact the Lightner went into great lengths to restore his cake which he has in front of him, Top Chef felt touched him for being this thoughtful, despite what he did was wrong. I see. Well, will you return it to me? The yellow chef asked in hopefulness. Of course. That's why me and Ralsei came back here in the first place, to return your newly restored cake back to you, said Naruto before he gave the cake back to the yellow chef. Edamame. My old cake. I'm so happy I could spin. My friend, share in my riches. I have many worse cakes I do not want. If you're not carrying a cake, come here and I'll give you one. Forever, said Top Chef as he gave Naruto 2 spin cakes for trading in the top cake to the yellow chef and his honesty. Now, I'm going to continue to spin and cry. Spin and cry. Okay, we hope you enjoy your new cake and thanks for giving these cakes to us, he thanked the yellow chef, even though one is fine but he'll accept it all the same if it'll help both he and Rousey in their journey through tough battles. Thank you, you too. I'll never forget what you did for me. Come back anytime if you ever want another cake from me, said Top Chef, happily while spinning and crying in pure joy. Naruto decided it's best to let him have his happy moment while storing the 2 spin cakes in his items before urging Rousey to follow him, which she quickly and happily got the message as they left Top Chef alone, but not before bidding the yellow chef farewell as they walked away to return back to the warp door. While walking back together to the warp door, Rousey spoke, "I'm so glad Top Chef can enjoy his new cake now that it's restored. It makes me happy to see him full of joy." Same here. And because of giving him the top cake, he gave us not 1 but 2 spin cakes. That'll definitely come in handy as backups. Although I'm somewhat tempted to try a bit, said Naruto happily and admittedly on that last part. Rousey just giggled at this after hearing him say that, well, best try not to eat the whole thing. We don't want you to pull a Susie if you want a slice, she teased him a bit. Me? Pull a Susie? Ha! Please. I have more self-restraint than she could and you know that. Unlike her, I have more manners than she does who eats like a starving predator, and that's a fact, said Naruto with a smirk, to which Rousey just giggled some more after hearing what he just said. Well, I suppose you could be right about that. Still, if we have to use the cakes in a dire situation, I'd be more than happy to bake a cake for you, Rousey offered cheerfully. Wait, really? He asked because he wasn't expecting an offer like that. She of course nodded since she was serious about it. Okay, I'll take you up on that offer. Heck, I'll even help you out if you want. Really? Oh, that would be wonderful. I would love that, said Rousey while sporting a blush but happily accepting a helping hand from Naruto, which he smiled towards her about it. After having a friendly moment with each other just to pass the time, they finally arrived at the warp door as Naruto interacted with it as the text popped up to him as usual. It's a door. Where will you go? Field. Bake sale. Forest. He selected the bake sale location, then he opened the door. He playfully decided to be a gentleman as he held the warping door for Rousey. After you, milady. She blushed at this but giggled at what he's doing. Oh my, thank you. She played along while feeling flustered as she stepped foot through the door while Naruto followed suit after closing the door behind them. They returned to the bake sale area after exiting the warp door, so now they can resume to where they left off at. Alright, now with that out of the way and squared off with Top Chef, let's get back to our mission. You ready? Naruto asked, already knowing the answer she'll give out. As ready as I'll ever be, said Rousey with a cute smile on her dark yet fluffy face. He nodded as he and Rousey continued onward to the other area to proceed on with their journey. The two came across 2 paths up ahead while noticing 2 Bloxers patrolling back and forth in front of them. They were about to head over to the left side path but were stopped by the 2 Bloxers, which initiated a battle. It didn't take long for them to handle the Bloxers while protecting themselves against their attacks, but they eventually rearranged the 2 Bloxers' blocky bodies and in no time, they successfully spared them, thus winning the battle with 0 EXP and 92 $. Anyway, after handling the Bloxers, they reached the left path to a small room where the duo met a Darkner worm under a tree. The worm explained to them that before the king came along, it used to eat the leaves from this tree and it still does that as it's such the way of the worm. Naruto wasn't sure what to expect from this, but he just accepted this strange information and just left the worm be as he and Rousey resumed back to what they were originally doing. Naruto and Rousey left the small room as they came back to the square-shaped path, but he noticed something that was barely visible in the middle between the left and right paths that the Bloxers was zooming across, which out of curiosity, he went over to see to where it leads, so he and Rousey follow the dark path right across the square path, which ultimately led them to a secret treasure chest. Another treasure chest? Man, are we lucky or what? That's 3 chests we discovered together, said Naruto. He was mildly surprised at how lucky they keep coming across these things. I know. I wonder what's inside this chest, Rousey said with a smile, but was filled with curiosity on what they'll find this time. He went ahead and opened the treasure chest, and inside it was $40, much to his shock. "Boy, we are so lucky, there were $40 in there," Naruto said as he took the cash and showed it to Ralsei, which she too is stunned by this find. "Wow, really? That's amazing. You have such incredible luck, Naruto," she praises him for being so lucky in finding these hidden treasure chests. "Tell me about it. I don't know why, but it's like I have always seemed to win at games and stuff that center around luck, and it's definitely helping us so far throughout our journey," said Naruto while he puts away the money in his wallet. "Alright, let's get going." Ralsei nodded before they walked back out of the dark path as they went downward and back to the respective path they need to go as they left the area to the next. They arrive at a new area where the first thing they see are strange-looking dancing scissors spinning around the square paths. Naruto then felt his soul pull strongly as if it was warning him about them, so Naruto warns Ralsei that they need to avoid them as much as possible. The duo see an opening gap that's safe to walk through. They reach the gap and follow the scissor dancers while Naruto's soul continues to warn him to avoid taking damage. They went and took a left and followed the same pattern, then went downward to stay out of harm's way from the scissor dancers. After taking a small break to think where to go, Naruto noticed something from the distance across from them. "Ralsei, do you see what I see over there across from us? Is that another treasure chest? My, I wonder how you're this lucky in finding yet another one, but how are we gonna get to it? It looks pretty far from where we are," said Ralsei, who's a bit confused on how they could reach over to it. Naruto was in deep thought. He's thinking about where that path leads to the chest until he looked at Ralsei. "Well, only one way to find out. Let's go find the path that leads to it," he suggested. Okay, Ralsei wouldn't mind finding something that could help them in the long run. They took the left path to see where it leads, which took them to a square path with scissor dancers, but they're kinda slow, which makes it easier for them to outmaneuver them. However, as they walked around them in a square path, Naruto discovered yet another hidden but dark path that was barely visible for him to see, which means it has to lead to the chest. "Looks like we found what we're looking for, let's see if it leads to the chest," Naruto said, urging Ralsei to follow him, which she understands as the two walked down through the dark path. They came down to reveal the path the duo come across, and along the way which they get jumped by a patrolling rabbit, resulting in facing off against 3 rabbits that the last 2 appeared from out of nowhere. It didn't take long for them to handle the 3 rabbits with ease and no issues, while sparing them in the process, which the duo won the fight and gained 0 EXP and $122. Anyway, once that minor issue has been dealt with, they continue following the path, which leads to a small narrow path as they go and follow it. Eventually, they arrive at the chest that the two discovered from across from the other side. "Alright, we finally got to the treasure chest. Now let's see what goodies are in the mysterious box," said Naruto while he went to open the chest. As he opens the chest to see what's inside, he finds a broken key. This is what was in the chest. "A broken key?" asked Naruto in confusion as he shows it to Ralsei. So, how does this help us? And what's the key for?" Ralsei asked in equal confusion. "I don't know, it's broken so it's useless, but it does make me wonder why a broken key was stored in a chest this far out here. And it says a letter B on the key as well, perhaps it was once used for something but was broken now for unknown reasons," he said while in deep thought. Now that he thinks about it, he recalled that there were 3 rabbits patrolling out here. Were they meant to keep this hidden out of plain sight? "Do you think MangaMuse could fix this?" Ralsei asked. "Perhaps the smith could fix that. Perhaps. For now, I'll store it away for later. Until then, we'll stop by at MangaMuse once we have the time to make the trip back to the bake sale sometime later. Sounds good?" Naruto asked. "Sure. I'm fine with it, whatever you decide works for you," said Ralsei, since she's perfectly fine with whatever decision he makes. He smiled and nodded, then puts the broken key in the key item section of his inventory. The duo retreated to the square-shaped paths as they followed the same pattern, and quickly and surprisingly, they discovered another treasure chest in the back of the square path. Seriously? Another treasure chest? Just how many are there around here? Naruto said, for he was stunned to see another chest close by that he and Ralsei didn't notice when it was easy to spot, which made him wonder how they missed that. No kidding, I wasn't expecting this, but this is good though. Perhaps something good is in that chest compared to the last one we just found not too long ago, said Ralsei, being optimistic about it like always. I suppose you're right. Well, let's see what this one has, Naruto said. Then he went ahead and opened the treasure chest to check inside. He pulled out a revive mint that's been put in his inventory. He checked the stats to see what it does, and from what the information gave him, it can restore a downed party member to full HP, much to his satisfaction. Oh, that'll definitely come in handy. This can bring back a downed party member back to full health. That's very useful and needs to be used very carefully, said Naruto, telling Ralsei this information. Oh yes. This will definitely help us greatly. Best conserve it as a last resort when we need it the most, Ralsei advised him to save that item for later. I couldn't agree more. Alright, we stuck around here for too long, let's get out of here, shall we? He said, which Ralsei fully agreed with him as the two left the area while resuming their original objective of leaving the square-shaped path. They eventually reached the opposite direction of where they needed to go while avoiding taking damage from the scissor dancers as they finally reached the end of the path before leaving the area. They arrive at an open area where the first thing they see is Lancer with his back turned on them while the duo doesn't see Suzy anywhere with him. Oh, whoa. Woe is me. Rows and rows of woes and woes. If only a hero would help, Lancer said with a dramatic voice. What's going on here? What's he even doing, thought Naruto with a raised eyebrow while crossing his arms at how dramatic Lancer is acting right now. Lancer? Is everything alright? Ralsei immediately asked Lancer, being confused by his strange behavior. Also, where's your pal Suzy? She ditched you or something? I wouldn't be surprised if she did for whatever reason, he asked in slight curiosity, unaware that he could have sworn he heard a low yet quiet growl that came from the overly large bush but didn't question it yet. Oh, I'm not Lancer. I'm just a sweet little boy. Lancer said, facing them while covering his identity, if you can call it that, by slapping on a cartoonish mustache on his face. Why does a sweet little boy have a mustache? Ralsei asked, confused. And why does a sweet little boy have a mustache in general? Having an identity crisis or something? Naruto asked, for he's not buying whatever this is that Lancer is even doing. Of course I'm not having an identity crisis, at least I don't think. This is a disguise, Lancer said while laughing. Naruto mentally rolled his eyes at this, but he could have sworn he almost heard a slap sound from the bush, as if someone just facepalmed at what Lancer just said. So what kind of help do you need? See, I have this evil plan that I need to make. Ralsei just looks at him with semi-closed eyes while Naruto wasn't amused in the slightest. And why does a sweet boy need an evil plan? To impress his cool friend Suzy. Lancer said with a grin. She was silent for a moment before looking at Naruto, blushing while whispering to him, Naruto, if it's for friendship. Naruto mentally groans, Ralsei, please don't. Well then, we'll gladly help. What shall we do? Naruto just sighed at this, knowing he saw that one coming from a mile away, and he wasn't sure why he even bothered trying at this point. Ralsei can be so naive, and that's what worries him a lot. It's all on the paper, you delicious little apple. Lancer said as a paper fell from somewhere, just fill it with the most evil thing you can imagine. Ho ho ho. Let the cloud-generated content begin. Naruto and Ralsei walked over to the paper as they took a look at the blueprint Lancer wanted them to create. Create a machine to thrash your own ass. Presented by Lancer Industries. Which was just made up right now. Wow, so this is part of their evil plan. Just to have us make a machine for them instead of doing it themselves. That's just plain ridiculous. It doesn't help that Lancer didn't even bother changing the name of the industries that was made recently just now, thought Naruto, seriously questioning both Lancer and Suzy if they're even cut out to be villains, as they claim. Naruto, I'm just gonna let you handle this one. I'm sure whatever machine you create will be amazing, said Ralsei, giving encouragement. Thanks. Not sure if I want to make a machine for Lancer and Cammy, forbid Susie, since they clearly couldn't do it themselves. That's the only reason Lancer wanted us to create one for Susie. But if I must, then fine, he said before he started looking into the blueprints, unaware that there was a low growl a bit loud coming from the bush, but didn't pay no mind to it. Head, flame red. Body, tank green. Shoe, tread gray. This is your machine. Is that okay? Yes, no. Naruto submitted his choice, but he couldn't help but blush a bit at what he picked, and for some reason it looks kinda suspicious to him, but regardless he went with it despite the lingering doubts in his mind. Wow. Looks nasty. Are you sure you aren't evil? Lancer asked when he saw the machine Naruto and Ralsei designed. No, I suppose we just have a knack for it. Ralsei said, smiling. Plus we're just that creative with our ideas. Something your friend Susie couldn't do. Speaking of which, Naruto trailed off while he looked at the bush in particular. How long are you gonna keep hiding in that bush and spying on us like a stalker? Come out of there already. You're not that slick. As if on cue, Susie suddenly came out of the bush and stopped in front of Lancer. You knew I was hiding in there? Of course I knew. It wasn't that hard to sense you hiding. Didn't help that I barely heard you growling at me when I was disrespecting you. So I knew you were around somewhere, and that large bush was a dead giveaway when you weren't with Lancer, Naruto explained while smirking a bit for taking a jab at her, which Susie just growled at him some more at the nerve of this nerd talking all that smack. It didn't help that he knew immediately she was hiding within the bush, since she doesn't know how he can sense her, as he worded it. TCH. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is we still tricked you, idiots. Never do something someone else can do for you. She laughed and pushed Naruto and Ralsei aside while the former just rolled his eyes at this. This thing's, like hey, why did you draw something, like it looks like you guys want to kiss? Susie questioned him, and Ralsei, sweating. Wait, what? Naruto exclaimed in surprise and stunned at what Susie just said while trying to hide his blush. He wasn't expecting to hear something like that because it took him completely off guard by that question. It's okay to express yourself, Naruto, Ralsei whispered to him, patting his back. Ralsei. What are you saying? He was shocked by what she just said. He doesn't even know what is happening right now, since he's trying to keep his blush in check to make it not visible. Anyway, great job, Lancer. They were sitting ducks. Susie returned her cue. Yes. And it's all thanks to our enemies. Thank you very much. Thrash you later. Lancer said as Susie took the blueprint and both of them left. Okay, said Ralsei while just smiling. Naruto, who managed to get his blush under control, for he just wants to get moving while trying to forget what just happened. Alright, let's just get going, he said while moving on ahead a bit quicker just to get going, which Ralsei quickly followed so she didn't get left behind. The duo arrived at a room where it shows a long pathway, and in front of them is a bird-like darkener that resembles a white-winged bird that has a golden head shaped like a four-pointed star, with two small dark diamond shapes as eyes. The bottommost point is longer than the others, and has another point behind it to serve as the bottom of its beak. When they got close, the Starwalker bird, it's what it's called, began flapping its wings and started firing 3 simultaneous and diverging star-shaped bullets at Naruto, which his soul reacted to this. He and Ralsei quickly dodges the incoming projectiles aimed at them, but mostly Naruto, who resorts to conjuring his shield of determination to protect himself and Ralsei, making it easier for them to advance since the attacks aren't that strong to penetrate the barrier. Eventually they reached the end of the pathway while seeing a bell, which he went for, which stopped the Starwalker bird attacking as its beak fell off, then its wings flew away as the beak waddled away as well. Naruto and Ralsei continued moving forward to the next large room where they saw a sign, which he went over to check it out. Revolve around the center, and look carefully. The darker it gets, the more you can see. After reading this, Naruto looked at the square-shaped paths that lead to the next section, but for some reason he felt like something was moving in the dark, and he doesn't know why, as he barely noticed. He may not see it but he can definitely sense there's something within the dark and it looked like a tree with legs and a one-eye block tree. Naruto decided to go to the middle of the wall from the diamond chain rotating around from the lone WHP pawnman as he and Rausai avoid them and touch it, which made a clicking sound that echoed in the room, which meant he must have located the hidden SWCH to let them pass. How did you know there was a SWCH there? You're really amazing, you know that, Naruto. Rausai told him. Naruto just scratched his back from the praise given by his companion. Come on Rausai, you're gonna make me blush from all your compliments. Rausai just giggled at him being so modest like that. Sorry, I just can't stop praising you for being so cool and amazing. Ah, thanks. I appreciate the compliments, I just do what I do best, which is helping others. That's just who I am, Naruto said while smiling. She just smiled at him with admiration with how heroic-like he is, which no doubt in her mind he truly is a hero meant to save the dark world. Alright, ready to keep moving? She heard Naruto as she focused back on the task at hand. I'm ready as always. Rausai says with enthusiasm, which Naruto nods to her as the duo proceeds onto the next area after the vines that were blocking our path vanished from existence. They arrive in a next room where they see both Suzy and Lancer as they're just sitting and relaxing while two Rudens fanning them, which Naruto can tell they're being forced against their will. Look at her just lounging around without a care in the world when she should have been helping us to get ourselves back home. I expect nothing less from a bully, but seeing her doing nothing with a grin on her face when I'm trying to help Rausai save the dark world and doing all the work of finding us a way out really grinds my gears, Naruto thought, his anger slowly rising just from seeing her doing absolutely nothing, but he kept himself together because he doesn't want to lose his cool over something so trivial. Anyway, he looked over to his left to see a third Ruden here who isn't fanning with the two, which makes him wonder why they're even fanning Suzy and Lancer in the first place. Naruto went over and asked Ruden a question, so exactly why your two friends fanning both Suzy and Lancer for? Somehow, Prince Lancer's made real friends with a Lightner as somebody should tell the king, immediately. But, it's definitely not going to be me. Whoever breaks the news is gonna get wrecked. Ruden said with fear at the thought of imagining the king beating someone up just by telling him the king's son is friends with a Lightner. That just spells trouble for anyone else unfortunate enough to break the news to him. Geez, these guys are really afraid of this king. Just who is he that we will soon face? Naruto thought as he heard this. Clearly this king needs to be kicked off his throne when they get to his castle before getting to the Dark Fountain in order to leave the Dark World. While he was thinking, he noticed a save point by Lancer in front of him, which he decided to go over there and interact with it while ignoring the confused look on Lancer's face at what Naruto was doing after taking notice of him and Rausai here. After saving his save file, which tells him they're currently at the forest before maze, which explains the path that leads to that said maze, he notices Rausai walking up to Suzy to ask her something. So, we're ready to be a good guy again, Suzy? Rausai asked, hoping for a positive answer. Nah. Gotta say being a bad guy is pretty sweet. Not only is it way more fun than being good, but my teammates proud of what I do, Suzy told her and pointed to Lancer. Earlier, Suzy ate a pinecone off the floor. It gave her a terrible stomachache. It was very brave and cool, said Lancer. See? Finally, some respect. Suzy said, triumphant of her new team. Respect isn't something I would use. It's completely idiotic and probably the stupidest thing you've ever done. But I shouldn't be surprised about hearing this because you would just about eat anything that's considered edible to you if catching you eating chalk isn't one of them, Naruto spoke up with a neutral expression on his face. Suzy didn't like how Naruto called her idiotic, and what she did was stupid, for she took offense to this, which she looked at him with a growl on her face. Yeah, well, I never asked for your opinion. At all. You think I care whether or not you don't want to hear it? Too bad, deal with it. I felt like it needed to be heard anyway whether you like it or not, he said without a care. Grrrr, Suzy was growling really loudly, for she's 5 seconds away from getting out of her lounge chair and pulverizing the nerd, but she kept herself calm since she'll thrash him later. It won't be long before it's time for her and Lancer to beat them, especially Naruto personally. Seeing Suzy being silent meant that Naruto won the argument, which he smirked about it, something that really irked her greatly but chose not to say anything about it. He noticed Ralsei, who just sighed at this while she shouldn't be surprised at this point, but it saddens her that both Naruto and Suzy aren't getting along as they're at each other's throats, and Suzy still doesn't intend to become a good guy. Even though he tries to be nice at times, he wouldn't pass the opportunity in taking jabs at Suzy just to bother her, which doesn't help the situation in the slightest. Ralsei felt a pat on her shoulder as she looked at Naruto while whispering to her, "Don't worry, she'll come back around sooner or later." "I hope so," she said while giving him a sad smile, but she trusts him for she hasn't given up on Suzy yet. Naruto just smiled back at her while giving her a reassuring grab on her shoulder, which for some reason made Ralsei feel a bit funny as they stared at each other for a moment. "Ugh. Can you two nerds not get all mushy with each other in front of me? I swear you two are a bunch of softies. No wonder I chose to ditch you losers. You both disgust me." They heard Suzy speak, who looked annoyed at them for being so touchy with each other, as it's enough to make her want a GG. "Now how long are you two gonna stand there? Get out of my way. You're blocking my reverse tan. The shadow's flare is making us as pale as a horse," Lancer said. Naruto just rolled his eyes at the two as he and Ralsei moved out of her view while she smirked about it. "Finally. I couldn't stand looking at your face. Maybe this is a brain in there for you to listen after all. Watch it. Keep talking like that and there's gonna be trouble," Naruto warned her as he didn't take kindly to that insult. "Oh, I'm shaking in my boots. What are you gonna do?" "Nothing, that's what. It's all you're good for in life," Suzy mocking him, who's unfazed by his warning. Naruto is slowly balling his fist as his anger is starting to rise, but he quickly pulls himself together since he won't give her the satisfaction of seeing him lose it. Anyway, he ignored Suzy while going over to Ruden, who's fanning her, as he asked, "So what's going on here? Why are you fanning Suzy?" "L. Leitners. This girl's with you, alright. She's forcing me to fan her. Please get her under control." Ruden pleaded with him to get her to stop. "Nah, they're my enemies, actually. We split up, 'cause I was too evil for 'em, Suzy said while giving Ruden a savage grin. "You never did anything remotely evil, as you call it. You are just being annoying that I have to put up with. I swear she sucks as a villain," she proclaims to be, as well as being terrible as a hero, Naruto thought while he just rolls his eyes at her, saying she was too evil for them. Help. Help me. I don't want to fan forever. Ruden was in despair after hearing this, which it wanted to end this torture. Naruto felt bad for that Ruden. Despite being an enemy, it was forced against its will by Suzy. It truly disgusts him at how much of a bully she is and still is without care. He went over to the other Ruden that's fanning Lancer as he asked it, "So I'm assuming Lancer is forcing you to do the same like your other friend is? Why does the king make us take care of his son? He's not a bad kid, but he's so weird, and it's so obligatory, it's no wonder nobody really likes him," the other Ruden said, which made Naruto raise an eyebrow at this. Yikes, the king's subjects seem to really dislike Lancer that much. Kinda makes me wonder why though, regardless how quirky he can be, Naruto thought, pondering on what made them not like Lancer, but nothing seemed to come up for him except perhaps he was just annoying, which isn't far from the truth, but that's just his opinion on what he was told. His thoughts were cut short as he heard Ralsei asking Lancer a question, "How's the thrash machine we designed going?" "The what machine?" Lancer asked, confused. "The machine. We had a whole sequence in it," she said, smiling. "Oh, that. Yeah, we'll make it at the last minute," Suzy revealed as she stretched out. "You two should really start working on it earlier," Ralsei advised the Dark Team. "They really shouldn't by all accounts, but I highly doubt they'll even finish it at all. Even if they did, it wouldn't help them much anyways," Naruto thought, since he wasn't worried at all about the machine because he designed it to be useless on that blueprint of theirs. Still, it's better they don't make it at all in his opinion at the very least. "What's with the lecture? I didn't come here for a second, Dad." Lancer joked as he yawned. Yeah, you tell her. Suzy giggled and told the tired Rudin to fan faster. Ralsei sighed at her cruelty. Being a bad guy sure is relaxing. The Spade Prince said. Naruto just shook his head at them in pure disappointment, especially at Suzy as she never ceases to disappoint him further than he already is. He noticed she's looking at his way while spotting a grin on her face which made him raise an eyebrow at this. What? What's with that grin you're giving me? Naruto, if you're jealous, you can be a bad guy, too, Suzy said, trying to make him jealous. Unfortunately for her, Naruto isn't the least tempted into becoming a bad guy. He can only just roll his eyes at her attempt to make him feel jealous or tempt him in general. Naruto isn't jealous of your evil-doing lifestyle. Ralsei quickly answered, mad at Suzy. She noticed that she had said louder than usual and turned to Naruto. But if you are, I can find a nice leaf and fan you, she told him. Naruto wasn't sure what to make of this, but the thought of getting fanned by Ralsei sounds pretty tempting. We'll talk about that later, he whispered to Ralsei, which she happily understood as she just nodded to him, much to Suzy's displeasure that her attempts to make Naruto jealous didn't work at all. Anyway, he felt like they overstayed their welcome, so he decides to leave the two getting fanned while he and Ralsei plan on leaving to enter the maze. By the way, beware yourselves of the forest maze, Lancer warned them, stopping the duo before entering. You'll probably get completely lost without someone who knows the way through, that is, Suzy said while laughing a little. Yeah. I know the forest like the back of my head. Lancer said. Then you don't know it? Naruto thought in confusion as he questions Lancer's wordings, but for the likes of him, he doesn't exactly want to understand how Lancer functions. No thanks. We'll take our chances without your help. Then he and Ralsei enter the maze. After entering the maze, they instantly saw Lancer somehow in front of them after they just recently left him and Suzy behind when they were getting fanned. What the how is he now in front of us after we just left them behind? Naruto asked in pure confusion. I don't know, even I'm wondering that myself. Ralsei was equally confused as she doesn't know how he's always ahead of them on a few occasions since the start of their journey. They walked towards Lancer, which he went to the right path that they soon followed. They see Lancer just enter another right path which they followed after him. Finally they arrived in a small room where Lancer is all alone there with nowhere to go as they came up to him. So which way are we going next? Lancer asked with a goofy smile. What? Naruto thought in disbelief after what he just heard. You're telling me Lancer doesn't know where he was going and just led him and Ralsei on a wild goose chase? Just to waste their time. We were following you, Ralsei said while smiling. Oh why? I have no idea where I'm going. Lancer said in confusion. Naruto, let's just go wherever Lancer doesn't go. Ralsei whispered to Naruto. Trust me, we're not following him anymore, he whispered back as they just turned back after leaving Lancer behind and went to the opposite direction, which is the left side path. They soon come across scissor dancers blocking in a straight line with opening gaps which they can easily slip through, but what caught their attention is seeing Lancer again in front of them, which Naruto doesn't know how after just leaving him behind. He's starting to think Lancer is doing this just to mess with them or throw them off course. Nonetheless, he'll ignore him as the two quickly got past the scissor dancers while seeing Lancer went to the left side while the duo went the opposite direction, which is going to the right side path. This time, they see a rabbit roaming around while Lancer was seen taking the right path. So the two went to the left path while quickly getting away from the rabbit since Naruto doesn't want to waste time fighting other enemies if possible. In the next area, they see a WHP pawnman with a diamond chain rotating around and of course Lancer standing next to it, which he quickly went in the left path. They outmaneuver the WHP pawnman easily and went to the right path. However, the duo came across Suzy standing in front of them, blocking their path with a grin on her face while Naruto was getting annoyed with these two messing with them. Hey, losers! Wait a sec. Where's Lancer? Suzy asked confusedly. Well, he wasn't going the right way, so, Ralsei just smiles while answering her. You let him wander off by himself. You know he's bad at mazes, right? Susie said as if she's worried. I fail to see how that's our problem. If he's that terrible in directions, why aren't you with him? After all, you two said you know the directions around the maze, or was that a lie just to make us worry about getting lost? Because your attempts aren't working, Naruto said with little care, for he knows Susie and Lancer are just being bothersome. Susie at first was angry just for a brief moment before calming herself down, then speaking, that's not the point. The issue is that you two nerds left him behind. He's probably lost and confused right now. Ho ho ho. I'm lost and confused. Lancer said, somewhere from afar. I'm getting real tired of them messing with us. My limits are getting pushed by this nonsense. Naruto thought, his right eye twitching after hearing Lancer's voice, who doesn't sound worried at all. Sorry Susie, we didn't mean to make you worry about him, Rousei apologized to Susie while feeling bad about it. Susie was a bit surprised for Rousei, thinking she's worried for Lancer. Huh. Look, I'm not, worried about him. Bad guys gotta look out for each other, is all. Anyway, get out of my way. I'm gonna find him. She then took off to the wrong direction. She was supposed to go look for Lancer. Seems she doesn't know the right way either, Naruto, Rousei said with a smile after watching Susie go. Rousei, this is getting ridiculous with their constant attempts in throwing us off and Susie having no interest in changing her ways. I can deal with their nonsense as much as possible, but I have my limits and they're very much pushing it. Any more and I might just lose it, Naruto said, barely holding back his annoyance and his anger in as much as possible, but he can only hold it back so much and he's not sure just how much he can take it anymore if this keeps up any longer. Rousei was getting worried for Naruto, for she knows he's nearly close to losing his patience the more Susie and Lancer keep messing with them. Don't worry, Naruto. We just got to keep trying and hope Susie comes back around, she said, trying to calm him down. I know and I want to believe that, but my history with her tells me she doesn't want to change, at all, he said as he wants to believe that, but it's just not possible in his opinion. Rousei looks down with a sad expression but then went over to Naruto and put her hand on his arm, which caught his attention. I know it's hard for you to forgive, but we must keep trying. Please just endure it a bit longer. For me? She asked with a smile. Naruto just looked at her as she gave him the most precious look with those innocent eyes of hers, which made him calm his anger down almost instantly. He sighed as he took a deep breath and calmed himself before looking at her. All right, I'll put up with it just a while longer. I'm only doing this just for you, he said with a small smile. Rousei was happy to hear this as she gave him the biggest smile. Thank you, Naruto. You're the best person that I can count on. No problem. Anyway, let's continue on where Susie just went, he said, which Rousei nodded in agreement as the two resumed their destination. They found themselves in another area where there's two straight-line scissor dances, and ahead of them, they saw both Lancer and Susie went both left and right paths, except the middle path. The duo managed to get through the scissor dancers rather quickly and took the middle path without hesitation. Next they come across a Bloxer roaming around just like the rabbit did, while seeing Susie taking the left path and Lancer going for the middle path. Naruto and Rousei outmaneuver the Bloxer, who almost stopped them to have a battle but managed to get away as they took the right path. In the next area, they encountered two Starwalker birds coming from the left and right side of them as they took notice of their presence and started launching star projectiles at them. They started running while using his shield of determination to protect himself and Rousei. While this was happening, he saw Lancer going into the middle path while Susie took the right path, so he and Rousei decided to go to the left path after avoiding the Starwalker birds' attacks. Next they see two WHP pawnmen with their diamond chain rotating around each other. Of course, as usual and to his growing annoyance, he sees Lancer taking the left path while Susie taking the right path. But if he didn't know any better, he could have sworn he saw Susie taunting him before leaving, which only fueled his fury but kept it in check barely. The duo waited for the right moment to get through the two WHP pawnmen's diamond chains, which they successfully got through and took the middle path without thinking twice. Finally, they reached the small room where a save point is there for Naruto to save. Finally. I swear, the more I keep seeing both Suzy and Lancer keep getting ahead of us, messing with us and just getting taunted by that overgrown lizard, I would have lost my mind, Naruto thought, for he couldn't stand taking any more of their nonsense being thrown at them. At least now they're finally out of that maze. He wasted no time going over to the save point and interacting with it to save his save file. After doing so, it showed him instead of before, it's now forest after maze, which definitely confirms they're officially out of the maze. After saving his save file, the two continue on with going to the straight path to see where it'll lead them. As they entered the normal part of the forest, there was a big shadow figure standing like a rock. But to Naruto, judging by the silhouette of what it looked like, it looks a lot like the machine he and Ralsei designed. There's no way. They actually managed to make the machine in a span of minutes? Naruto thought in disbelief, for he was honestly quite surprised they even managed to pull it off after they continuously messed with them. And Naruto. Isn't that the machine we designed? Ralsei pointed to the figure. It would appear so, unfortunately, he said while remaining calm as he's not even worried in the slightest. Alright. This will be tough, but let's try our best, she said while preparing herself for a tough fight. The figure revealed itself as the light passed by it. The machine was all messy. It was completely different from what Naruto thought it would be. It even had a smiley face instead of a cannon. Oh. That's not good, actually. Which one isn't good? The fact the machine that we designed looked so messy and beat up, or just the machine in general? Naruto asked. Both? Ralsei answered unsurely. Lancer and Suzy suddenly appeared on the horizon, smiling at their confusion. Ho ho ho. You think that's bad, just wait. And see what happens when it starts. He clicked a button and the machine exploded in front of their eyes as both Suzy and Lancer laughed. Ralsei widened in shock with the sound while Naruto just remained silent, looking unbothered by what just happened. Your design sucked, so we blew it up, Suzy told Naruto, expecting him to get upset about it. Meh, he only said while shrugging his shoulders at this. Seeing Suzy looking a bit confused by his reaction, he clarified for her, what? Were you expecting me to get upset? Get mad or bummed out just because you guys blew up the machine that I designed? Sorry, but I'm not. In fact, you did me a huge favor. You saved me the trouble of destroying it myself, so I suppose I should thank you for actually doing something good for once. So congrats on that. He then started mockingly clapping his hands to her, which only made Suzy dislike that he's just mocking her, and even less when he said she did something good, for once, as he worded. Grr, she started growling at how this doesn't bother him at all, which only makes her livid at this. Naruto notices her growling, which he spoke once more, what's with the growl? You honestly think I would care for the machine that I made that you think you two tricked us into making for you? Please. Perhaps you failed to realize I purposely made it lame for you guys to take. If you truly believe I would put an effort into making something so dangerous just for you guys to use it against us, then you're even more stupid than I thought. Villains don't trick heroes into making dangerous machines, something which you suck at as a villain. After all, it's like you said, never do something someone else can do for you, right? He said with a mocking smirk. Jarr. Suzy just got pissed off at hearing him talking smack towards her and him quoting her own words against her, which only further fueled her hatred towards Naruto. Seeing that things are looking pretty tense between Suzy and Naruto, Ralsei tries to break the tension before things escalate further. Ah, I see, so now what's your plan going to be? She asked in curiosity. Suzy calmed herself down for a bit before giving her and Naruto her ominous smirk, something he didn't like one bit. I don't like that smirk she's giving us. What is she planning on doing? He thought in suspicion at her sudden odd behavior. Turns out we didn't need a plan. Just a rule. Suzy grabbed a bug that flew by her. The bug gently stopped on her hand. Anyone that gets in our way, Lancer trailed off. Gets crushed into dust, she finished the sentence while she crushes the bug in her hand, turning it into dust. She wiped her hand and smiled with satisfaction towards Naruto. He narrowed his eyes at this as if he's feeling threatened by what she's implying. But Susie, you need us to return home. Doesn't crushing us seem a little counterproductive? Ralsei explained, but Susie turned away. Nah, see, that's where you're wrong, Susie said, mad at Ralsei. The way she said it sounded like she always hated Ralsei. You see, I know I can't get back without you guys. She turned to them, but being a, good guy really isn't my style. So, I thought of a little way we can just settle this. She swung her axe and Lancer ran to get his bike that now had full fuel. If you can beat me, I'll go back to being a good guy. But if you lose, she looked to the ground thinking, you guys will have to become bad guys with us and do whatever we say. She smiled, showing her yellow teeth. She's really serious about this. She's dead set on thrashing us. To think I used to view Susie as nothing more than a school bully. She's crossed every border. Fine, if she wants a fight, she'll get one. Clearly I need to settle with her, otherwise I'll never return home, Naruto thought, for he was certain that Susie wanted this for a while and he supposed they're doing this now since she's looking for an excuse to beat him up. Ho ho ho. Our wish is your command. Lancer said, excitedly looking forward to this. So, what do you say? Susie asked, holding her axe in their direction. Naruto was about to open his mouth but was rudely interrupted before he could remotely say anything. Don't bother answering. As I already stated before, your choices don't matter and we were just gonna thrash you anyway, so see ya. Two bad guys blocked the way. The battle is on as the fight commenced, as both Susie and Lancer standing in both Naruto and Ralsei's way. He knew this was coming sooner or later, for he was simply just waiting on the when. Alright, how should we go about this, thought Naruto, trying to figure out how he and Ralsei should handle both Susie and Lancer. He was debating whether he should act or fight against Susie and Lancer. As much as he wanted to knock her lights out, Ralsei wishes to not end in violence. Plus, now that he thinks about it, Susie isn't really worth the trouble because she's not much of a threat to him. Just because she has an axe and is physically stronger than him due to her raw strength alone, to him, strength isn't everything and intimidation doesn't have any effect on him, especially from Susie nonetheless. So he decided to act, as he already knows how to deal with Lancer easily. Susie is the main problem, but what better way to beat them than to gang up on Lancer? After going to the ACT option when selecting Lancer, his only options he was given was anything or X anything by Ralsei. He selected the X anything option as Naruto told Ralsei to compliment the enemies. You two look like a really great team. I'm proud. Ralsei complimented Lancer, which the Spade Prince started to become a little convinced. Flattery won't work on us. Susie said in annoyance, like their attempts aren't gonna work. Oh. It's working on me. Lancer said, feeling a little convinced, much to Susie's surprise. The two target Naruto as Susie jumps on top of Lancer's back and starts slashing axe projectiles in his way while the Spade Prince races around them. It would seem like she's learned a new attack with Lancer. Naruto used his Sakabato to deflect the incoming attacks, which he managed to succeed. However, what took him by almost surprise was the attack came back at him, which he narrowly avoided taking damage. Susie and Lancer are coming up with victory celebration plans. Naruto repeated the same tactic of having Ralsei to logically beat Lancer and Susie. You two, if we don't stop fighting, then someone might get hurt. She said to them, logically speaking, to which Lancer has become more convinced. It's working. That's the point. Susie was getting irritated at Ralsei as if it wasn't obvious enough of what they're gonna do to them. Really? That's bad. Lancer said, feeling slightly convinced, much to Susie's disbelief that they're ganging up on Lancer for an easy win. They now started targeting Ralsei as Lancer rained down spade attacks on her, which she had to dodge and move out of the way without taking damage. Scutum. Naruto conjures a shield glyph to hover over Ralsei to defend against the spade attack, much to her relief and gratefulness. Susie and Lancer are coming up with victory celebration plans. Same deal like his two attempts, Naruto still sticking to his plan as he once more has Ralsei offer her services to the enemies. You too, if we stop fighting, then I could braid your hair. Ralsei offered with a smile. Lancer became almost fully convinced. Huh. I mean no. Suzy was thrown off by this but realizing these nerds are trying to win by convincing Lancer, which she cannot let happen. Wow, I'll look amazing. Lancer said feeling almost convinced by Ralsei's offer, much to Suzy's chagrin. They went back to targeting Naruto as Suzy started slashing axe projectiles at him as they spun around him. He tried to predict where they're going but one of them managed to hit Naruto taking damage which affected his soul. Darn it. Her attacks are catching me a bit off guard. She's stronger than I thought, he thought as he groaned with the pain for he wasn't expecting the damage he received from Suzy, which she seemed pleased that she managed to hurt him while she laughed at him. Suzy and Lancer are making fun of you. Naruto was getting angry at them for Suzy managing to outsmart him while Ralsei was getting worried for him after she saw he took damage. Naruto. Are you alright? She asked in worry. I'm fine, Ralsei. I was just caught off guard, nothing more. Still, this doesn't change anything, Naruto said as their tactics are still in motion. He went with the same plan as he had Ralsei to deal the final blow of kindness. In summary, I like you too, and I think we should all just get along. Ralsei said happily, thinking Lancer is fully convinced. However, unfortunately for both her and Naruto, Suzy wasn't having that as she blocked the sound waves before they reached Lancer. Try convincing someone that can't hear you. Suzy mocked them with her grin, much to Naruto's annoyance. Heh, score for the bad guys. She gloated for preventing them from persuading the Spade Prince. He. I'm blissfully ignorant. Lancer felt relieved from almost getting fully convinced by the heroes. Great, now Suzy's becoming a problem. Even if I try it again, she'll just block Lancer's ears. How will we get her to back off so that I don't resort to violence? Naruto thought as he was thinking up ideas on how to deal with Suzy. Then he remembered something very important. Back at the Great Board when he, Ralsei and Suzy were dealing with a bunch of pawnmen, he distinctly remembered that Ralsei's lullaby can put Suzy to sleep, which means. Naruto then smirked, which Suzy caught on that smirk for she wasn't sure what that nerd was smirking about. What is that loser up to now? Whatever it is he's pathetically thinking, it won't do him any good, Suzy thought as she highly doubt they'll try to persuade Lancer again after blocking his ears, so she wonders why Naruto is smirking out of nowhere, much to her annoyance. It didn't matter to her since she just wants to thrash him. She jumped on Lancer's back and like previously, she launched her axe projectiles at Naruto who they're targeting. He was forced to deflect most of her attacks but once again, he takes a hit towards his soul yet again. Suzy and Lancer are gloating about how great their team is. Despite groaning from the pain after just getting hurt, it still won't change in them, especially Suzy. He came over to Ralsei and whispered to her, Ralsei, I know how we can get past Suzy. Remember back at the Great Board where we faced a bunch of pawnmen? Your lullaby was able to put Suzy asleep. We will use that to our advantage, okay? Ralsei remembered what he told her and she fully agrees with him, great idea. Okay, say the word and I'll prepare the lullaby, she said, which Naruto smiled at her before refocusing on the fight. He went over to act and this time, he selected Suzy and his options showed the option of Ralsei to sing, which will definitely do the trick. Whatever it is you're planning on doing, don't bother. It's not gonna work, he heard Suzy calling out that whatever he's planning will fail. That's what you think, lizard face. How about you sit this one out while Ralsei will put Barney the dinosaur to sleep, Naruto said while throwing in 2 insults, which pissed Suzy off at that as she was about to open her mouth but was interrupted by him. Go ahead Ralsei, do your thing, you sing. She nodded as she sang a soft and entrancing lullaby. Suzy was wide-eyed at what the nerd was planning as she tried to fight back to stay awake but unfortunately she fell asleep on the floor. Zzz, she's snoring away, which means she will be out of commission for a bit. Oh, what a appealing song. Lancer just smiled with it after hearing her soft song but has no effect on him in putting the Spade Prince asleep. Now with Suzy out of the way, they can fully persuade Lancer without Suzy's intervention. Lancer decides to target Naruto as he moves up and down to decide on where he'll attack until he honks his bike and takes off in a one-wheelie move against Naruto, which he quickly moves out of the way, almost getting hit after how fast Lancer is going. Suzy and Lancer are making fun of you. Naruto wasn't gonna question that text despite Suzy being asleep, but regardless, he went back to Lancer on ACT and told Lancer he wants to get along really fast. The sound waves reached Lancer instantly. At the same time, Suzy finally woke up as Lancer feels weird now. Oh. What's wrong, dude? What just happened? Suzy asked in confusion. I accidentally started liking the enemies. Now seeing them just makes me feel round and soft. Bad atmosphere for battle, though, Lancer said as he suddenly doesn't want to fight them but instead he started liking them. Suzy didn't say anything because on the outside, she wasn't showing any signs of emotions, but on the inside, she was furious. Those losers managed to outsmart her and made Lancer like these nerds. She couldn't believe this BS. Suddenly, a thought just occurred to her which she mentally smirked at what she's planning. Alright, fine. If you don't want to fight, there's no point in continuing this, I guess, she said with a grin. Then she called out to both Naruto and Ralsei, battle's over. The fight was over as everyone stopped at what they were doing as she spoke. Well, you didn't beat us, because you guys, kinda cheated by, ganging up on Lancer with, kindness, Lancer answered for her. But don't think this counts as a win. Just because you nerds managed to win over Lancer, that doesn't mean you can do the same for me. In fact, since Lancer doesn't want to fight, you tell your nerdy friend to stay out of this as I will fight. She points her axe at Naruto. What? But Suzy, we won. You said you would rejoin us after we beat you, and we did, Ralsei said, fearing for Naruto's safety. Didn't you hear a word I just said? You losers didn't beat me. You only cheated by persuading Lancer to like you. You only convinced Lancer to not fight you too, but to me, I want to fight you, and by fight, I mean, thrash. Suzy shouted as she slashed at Ralsei, knocking her back much to Naruto and even Lancer's surprise. Ralsei. Naruto was in shock at what Suzy just did. Even Lancer was shocked at Suzy attacking Ralsei even though he started liking them. He was about to rush over to Ralsei, but Suzy stopped him by attacking him with her axe, which he was forced to block with his sakubato as he struggles to hold her back. The heck is wrong with you? Are you out of your mind? Naruto demanded, angry at Suzy for what she did. Shut the hell up. Suzy pushes Naruto back as he made some distance between them. I'm not through with you yet. Not by a long shot. I'm not gonna let some nerd like you act his way out of this. I'm intending to thrash your face in until I'm satisfied. You're pushing your luck, Suzy. You honestly think a bully like you can get away with this? Naruto asked with barely contained anger. Oh, spare me your worthless threats. What are you gonna do about it? Oh, that's right, nothing. That's what. It's all you're good for in life, you stand there and do nothing. Suzy said, insulting him. That's where you're wrong. I'm not going to stand around and do nothing after what you did to Ralsei, Naruto said as he's getting in his stance. Oh ho ho, someone is wearing their big boy pants. Alright, then. Let's see what this nobody can do before I enjoy crushing you like the loser you are, Suzy said, holding her axe at ready while Lancer just watched with uncertainty about this. Suzy rushes at Naruto with her axe raised before swinging it down at the boy, who takes a defensive stance with his sakubato as he takes on the gale form, waiting for his opponent to approach him. Suzy swings her axe, but Naruto could immediately trace the trajectory of the incoming attack as he quickly swings his sakubato to make contact with the axe, then redirect it away from its intended target. Growling in annoyance, Suzy kept swinging her axe multiple times from different directions, but Naruto maintains his ground while repeatedly deflecting and redirecting them with keen focus, but then he notices that the axe was glowing this time with her next attack and quickly dashes backwards just in time as the axe struck where he stood before, creating a small crater upon impact. Looks to me like Suzy is becoming more proficient with that axe of her during the time I haven't been seeing her. This might prove to be a bit tricky, thought Naruto with a small frown. Pulling her axe out from the ground, Suzy sneers at Naruto, who stares at her intensely. What's the matter? Not tough enough to block by axe this time? Let's see you handle this. She swings rapidly to launch multiple axe-shaped projectiles towards her opponent, confident that her attack would damage him like before. VOICEOVER. Naruto conjures a night shield which is much stronger than the initial glyph to hover him to block the incoming projectiles until the barrage ended. Then he went on to the counterattack. Rapidus Fio, a large glyph appeared for him to leap through, which created a green mystical shockwave around him, allowing Naruto to move rapidly, and he slams into Suzy with a strong shoulder tackle. Then he quickly follows up by tossing his sakubato high into the air to grab an arm, then performing a shoulder throw to slam her to the ground before raising a hand for his sakubato to fall onto it. I suggest that you stay down and stop this fight, it doesn't benefit anyone, said Naruto sternly. Suzy gritted her teeth in anger. You don't get to stand there and tell me what to do. She raises her axe above her head, then brings it down to strike the ground, which launches a shockwave towards Naruto, who darts sideways to evade it but then sees Suzy rushing at him to attack. Grando. Naruto stomps on the ground to form a large blue glyph, which then creates a layer of ice. Suzy steps on the ice and ends up toppling to the ground while sliding towards Naruto, who's forming a green glyph around his arm. Numa. He thrusts an open palm to launch a gale of green wind downwards whilst STRKNG across the floor, blasting Suzy away from him. Suzy got back up yet again. Why, you little? Naruto frowns at this. Stand down, I won't warn you again. You can take your warning and shove it down your throat. Nothing's gonna stop me from giving you the thrashing that you more than deserve. Sigh, at the very least, I warned you. Naruto twirls his sakubato to hold it in a reverse grip while positioned behind his back in a low crouch. Suzy lunges at him with her teeth bared with clear intent to hurt him. Naruto narrows his eyes in focus as he waits for his opponent to draw closer, waiting until the very moment she attacks with her axe. He ducks underneath her swing, but instead of countering with his sakubato, Naruto reaches out to place his palm against Suzy's torso. It's over. Naruto channels his determination through his hand and fires a powerful blast of energy at point blank, sending Suzy flying from him and crashing to the ground with a thud. After defeating her, Naruto quickly rushes over to Ralsei to see if she is alright. He checked her to see she's alright, seeing bruises up but still appears fine. Ralsei, you alright? Naruto asked in worry. She looked at Naruto, who was a bit hurt but okay regardless. I'm okay, Naruto. She tries to smile but winces a bit in pain. He was glad that she wasn't in bad shape. That's a relief. Just give me a moment to get some items from the inventory so I can dash. However, that moment was over when Ralsei saw something that made her heart drop from what she's looking at. Naruto, look out. But it was too late. Naruto was roughly attacked from behind by getting slashed in the back by Suzy with her axe as he took serious damage and screamed in pain after getting knocked away from Ralsei. Suzy had a savage yet pissed off grin on her face as she knocked Naruto away after attacking him from behind, but she was far from done, slowly walking towards him. You truly are an idiot. You honestly think a nerd like you can beat me? Naruto tries to get up but was roughly kicked back down to the ground, making him grunt in pain after kicking him onto his back. You just don't get it, do you, Naruto? She then grabbed him by the collar and lifted him up, making him face her. Don't you remember what I said before? She asked, teasing him. Naruto was attempting to break free, but she was having none of that as she kneed him in the stomach, which made him wheezing, but was forced to look at Suzy while her other hand pulled the hair from his head to force him to face her. He could tell she was enjoying every second of his pain. That much is clear. Everyone who gets in my way, she lifted his body in the air, gets crushed to dust. Suzy threw him to the ground with all her strength. Naruto screamed out in pure agony as he felt like his body was being battered all over after being thrown down to the ground hard while coughing up blood. Ralsei was widened in shock and horror at what she saw as she forces herself to get up and runs to him despite her injuries. And Naruto. He could barely hear properly with the buzzing sound in his ears. He was injured and probably bleeding, trying to open his eyes to see Ralsei running towards him. He couldn't do anything, his strength has left him for every single part of his body hurts all over. Ralsei was crying. Tears fell from her eyes which made Naruto hurt seeing her like this. Yet, Suzy interrupted it, she had enough of Ralsei as Suzy attacked her in the back and Ralsei fainted. The very last thing he wanted to see. Seeing his new yet precious friend get knocked unconscious truly angered him and his rage was building up dramatically. He refuses to let this bully do this to Ralsei and himself, balling his fist as he slowly got back up without Suzy noticing despite his body feeling pain. Still up? She asked him while turning to face him, well not for long. He saw a red shine in her eyes before she smashed her fist into his chest which made him spit out blood more. She then caught his body but he retaliated by punching her back in the face, which only made her grin like a savage beast. Oh, you're gonna wish you hadn't done that. She then started beating up Naruto while relishing hearing him scream in pure pain that even Lancer couldn't tear himself away from watching Suzy thrashing the blue person with red hair and yellow stripes. It lasted for minutes before Suzy stopped pulverizing Naruto which made him look like a mess as his hair was messy and face was filled with bruises and blood while his body felt beaten up. And they say humans are strong, it's a shame really. I didn't like them anyway, she grinned feeling so satisfied after giving the nerd what he deserved. Naruto only groaned as his anger was reaching its peak, still conscious I see. Look how the mighty have fallen, she laughed at him before grabbing his hair, this is what happens when smart-ass nerds like you don't know when to learn their place. Perhaps now you'll start to realize where you stand and start to learn your place where you belong. She smashed his face on the ground hard which he couldn't scream out in pain but his fury was almost at his limit. Hey, Naruto, if you're still conscious, remember this the next time you think you can stand up to me. Remember your lesson and this experience as a reminder of who you're messing with. Think twice before you talk back to me and know your place, loser. She finally let him go and walked away laughing. Naruto couldn't believe what just happened, he just got beat up, pulverized, thrashed. He couldn't do anything but scream in pain. The word Suzy said to him really pissed him off but he couldn't do anything. He took one last look at Ralsei who was shaking but unconscious. The way he saw her in tears tore him up inside as he failed to protect her and himself. All because of Suzy. Naruto couldn't let this stand anymore. Suzy has crossed the line for the last time. She tormented the students, almost bullied Frisk, she tormented him, almost threatened to bite his face off and now reduced to getting thrashed. Suzy has taken things too far. He will not accept this humiliation. Not to some school bully. He's been through worse situations and this is how it ends, getting beaten up by a bully. No. He's had enough of her for the time. Just why the hell is he still holding back right now at this point? Suzy was walking over to Lancer with a huge satisfaction on her face for she has finally got back with Naruto after beating him up savagely. Maybe now he'll be scared of her once more just like he should be if he knows what's good for him. Suzy, don't you think you were too merciless to them? Lancer asked her, trembling after what she just did. Nah. I just taught them a lesson. Nothing too bad, she answered calmly without any sense of remorse. But the way Lancer was looking at her. Suddenly they heard movement from behind Suzy as she turned around to see Naruto standing up with his hair covering his eyes. Well, seems like the nerd is getting back up for more beating, huh? Should've just stayed down, freak, Suzy said with a mocking tone. Naruto didn't say a word, just standing there ominously without moving a muscle. What's wrong? Are you scared? Are you gonna cry from getting your ass handed to you? She continued to mock him while laughing while for some reason, Lancer felt like something major was going to happen and it's not good for some reason to him. Naruto still didn't say a word which only made Suzy stop laughing, seeing she wasn't getting any reaction from him which only bothered her a bit. What? Got nothing to say or something? Why are you just standing there? Say something. Say something, DM it. At this point, Suzy lost her good mood of making fun of Naruto for she's now just getting annoyed at how he's not doing literally anything which only made her want to knock his lights off. Alright, that's it. I don't know how you're still conscious after that thrashing I gave you, but just standing there is starting to really annoy me. She walked up to Naruto, completely unaware that he's close to unleashing his full fury. Suzy was standing in front of him as she looks down at him. Look at me. Are you deaf? I said, look at me. At this point, Suzy was losing her patience as she grabbed him by the collar. Fine. Don't say anything, because whether you say anything or not, I'm not gonna care, because you know why. She raised her fist intending to knock his lights out for good. Dweebs like you PSS me off. Just as she was about to connect her fist to his face, his hand suddenly caught it, much to her surprise by this sudden action as Naruto's left eye starts rather burning brightly. I had enough. He crushed her fist, making her scream in pain, which shocked Lancer from what he's witnessing right now. I have had it with you. You have officially infuriated me, Suzy. Naruto shouted as he slugged her in the stomach, then kneed her in the face before kicking her away near Lancer. Suzy wasn't expecting this at all, reeling in the pain he had just inflicted to her. She was feeling pissed off after what Naruto just did. You bstrd. You're gonna regret that. The one who's gonna regret is you. You think you can just do whatever you want and walk over me and get away with it? Wrong. I've tolerated your BS for the last time, and you hurting Ralse was the last straw, Naruto declares, the fury visible in his eyes. You think I care? Go on and cry about it. You're lucky I only knocked her out. I could have done more but decided there's no need because I wanted to thrash you both as a lesson, especially you, Suzy said without a care. You're truly some. You think you're above consequences just because you're entitled to do whatever you want. Because you're not. It's high time you need to learn that your actions have consequences, and I'm gonna show you personally, Naruto said while his left eye is burning brighter, which honestly somewhat unnerved Suzy, but she didn't show it. TCH. Please. What are you gonna do? Fight me? You're in no shape to fight. Save yourself the embarrassment and just shut up before you get hurt. Only this time I might cripple you in the process, Suzy warned, wanting him to back down, but Naruto isn't afraid. Why should I? I want nothing more than to beat you senseless like how you did with me. You say dweebs PSS you off. Well, bullies like you infuriate me. Especially a brute who's based on Barney the dinosaur laying his hands on me, he said without flinching. Hearing that comment, Suzy was extremely pissed off. Alright, you asked for it. Should have kept your big mouth shut, so instead I'll shut them up for you. She said as she pulls out her axe. Go ahead and try. I've kept my anger in check having to put up with your nonsense, but no more. This time I'm not gonna hold back at all. Naruto calls the Sakabato to his hand as he intends to make Suzy suffer. Naruto began walking towards Suzy, not run but walk, with his Sakabato lower towards the ground while his glowing eyes were fixed solely on his opponent, not straying away for even a second. Suzy sneers at Naruto, you think you can scare me? Dream on. She swings her axe to launch an axe-shaped projectile towards Naruto, who casually bats it out of the way one-handedly with his Sakabato. Annoyed by this, Suzy launches more axe projectiles while Naruto continues to deflect each and every one of them. Then she struck the ground once more to send a shockwave towards him, which exploded upon impact. Suzy grins while thinking that she finally got him, but then she was flabbergasted when she sees the very person walking out of the smoke with a red dome of energy having protected him from earlier. My turn. Naruto was immediately upon Suzy and already attacking with a fist glowing with a blue attack. She recognizes it to be a blue attack and stood still for the attack to phase through her, albeit failed to notice the glint in Naruto's eyes as he spins with the momentum of the initial punch to attack with a kick with the leg now glowing orange, managing to connect and knock her back greatly. Did you seriously think that I wasn't aware of your knowledge about blue and orange attacks? I used the blue attack on purpose to set you up for that kick. Gur, don't think you've beaten me, Suzy growled angrily. Naruto rolled his eyes in response, I don't need to think when I know I've beaten you, just need to make you realize it. With a yell of anger, Suzy rushes at Naruto, who remains still and waits until the last moment to initiate a counter right as she attacks with a downward swing of her axe, Rapidus Fio, a large glyph appeared right next to him to step through, which created a green mystical shockwave around him, allowing Naruto to move rapidly and dodge the incoming attack, then proceeded to unleash an assault of strikes with his Sakabato without any need to hold back since the sharp edge is reversed. Torpor, a large gray glyph appears underneath Susie's feet, which then conjures glowing chains that immediately wrap around to bind her. Naruto calmly raises an open palm towards Susie with a glyph appearing before him, Globus. He unleashes a sphere of red energy which shoots forward and slams into Susie, forcefully freeing her as well as being sent flying in addition. Not so fun when the bully truly fights back, is it? Asked Naruto mockingly. Shut up, Susie growls, getting back on her feet with axe in hand. But I have to give credit where it's due, you definitely know how to take a beating better than giving one. I told you to shut up. And why would I listen to you? Not like you have the power to make me do anything to begin with, only taking advantage of my patience until it finally ran out. As much as I want to continue this farce of a fight, Naruto glances at the unconscious Ralsei. He felt his anger building up yet again. I intend to end it with my next move. Susie was livid upon hearing those words, her anger somehow helping her ignore the pain in her body as she rose to her feet to glare at Naruto. A farce? You're calling this fight a farce? I'd like to hear what you'll say next once I'm done with you. She ran at him, blinded by rage, while Lancer watches everything that's going on with fright. Naruto walks forwards with his right fist clenched tightly. All of my anger. The fist is enshrouded in a fiery blue aura. My rage. The aura grows larger. My frustrations. And larger. Into this one punch. And larger. Rude Buster. Susie swings her axe, which is glowing with magenta-colored energy. Naruto twists his body to the side and flawlessly evades it before going for the counter with his eyes blazing with determination. This is what I feel about you. Naruto deals a powerful uppercut into Susie's stomach, making her cough out spit and almost throw up as she's launched a few feet into the air before crashing onto the ground, where she lays down, clearly defeated. Laying on the ground, both bruised and beaten all over. Susie couldn't believe what has just happened to her. She has been beaten by the very kid whom she had always viewed to be a weakling and a pushover. She had just beaten him earlier only for this to happen to her. It couldn't even be called a fight with how she couldn't even land a single hit on him. How is it that I lost to this punk, thought Susie in denial. Her thoughts were disrupted as Naruto had walked over to grab her by the back of her collar to lift into the air, then hold in place with blue magic, standing in front of her with a neutral expression, but behind those eyes was pure fury. What's the matter? Not so confident and intimidating anymore now, are you? Naruto sneers at her. DDMNU, Susie glares back in anger. What, Susie? Are you feeling angry? Humiliated? Is that it? Naruto immediately slaps Susie across the face, making her yelp in pain. Idiot. You have no right to be angry at all. Much less know what humiliation is. Naruto proceeds to deliver punches to Susie's face and stomach, which made her scream out in agony, while Lancer was terrified at how brutal the Lightner is being compared to Susie right now. Even more so than her, which is a shock considering he's a hero. Don't worry, you're gonna start learning the consequences of your actions, as I'm gonna teach you a real lesson in not pissing someone off like me, he said as he grabbed Susie's face to make her face him. She could have sworn that she saw his eyes turn red for a moment before reverting to blue. Of course she tried to resist, but Naruto made sure by forcing her to look at him by squeezing Susie's face hard before toning down a bit to make her look at him. And you question if humans are strong. Perhaps now you realize that after this experience that we humans are still just as capable with or without magic. We're not weak, far from it. The only reason you even question my kind and how you dislike humans is because you're living in the modern age where we lost our touch in magic. Have you forgotten that it was the humans who won the war against the monsters? Have you forgotten that the humans sealed the monster kind in the underground for so many years and later aided in freeing them? Have you truly forgotten that humans are stronger than monsters? Yeah, I bet you did. Susie couldn't say anything back at him, for she was too beaten up to speak and so could do nothing more than glare as she's now being forced to hear a lecture from Naruto of all people. I'm gonna make you learn 3 lessons that you shouldn't have done, which you broke all 3 of them regardless. Lesson number 1, don't judge a book by its cover. Because you thought you can intimidate me, threaten me, and going as far as bullying me to the point of thrashing me and thinking you're getting away with this? No way I'm gonna let you, not anymore. Naruto then punched Suzy straight in the face hard, to which she screamed in pain. Lesson number 2, don't go starting what you can't finish. You may have thrashed me pretty good, which I'm extremely furious about, but I'm still standing and already have you at my mercy. I warned you too many times in school that if you continue to be a bully, you're gonna suffer the consequences, which brings me to my last lesson. Naruto grabbed her chin and forced her to stare into his eyes full of burning fury and something else. Lesson number 3, don't ever think that you are above consequences. You never were to begin with, because eventually karma will come bite you in the end, and guess what? It did. He let go of her chin roughly as she couldn't do anything but just stare at Naruto. You have broken all 3 of those lessons because in your mind, you thought you were big enough and bad enough that you didn't have to play by the rules. Well, guess what? You're gonna learn the hard way that your actions affects others, especially me. Naruto then started to cracking his knuckles ominously, which Suzy is starting to express fear in her eyes at this. I believe it's time that I put an end to you terrorizing others for your amusement. I will not allow you to continue tormenting me or anyone else anymore. Your time as a bully is over. Every action, every torment that you inflicted, and every insulting words that comes out of your filthy mouth is an insult to me and everyone's happiness, but no more, Suzy. By my hands, you will be beat down inch by inch. Just like the way you have beaten down my pride. As he finally his sentence, Suzy could only look in pure fear as she now realized how her actions have pushed this supposedly goody two-shoes over the edge and is now paying for it, as Naruto raised his fists and wham! This is for those you bullied. Bam! This is for almost bullying Frisk. Wham! This is for tormenting me, intimidating me, and especially thrashing me. Bam! But most of all, this is for hurting Ralsei. Wham bam wham! All Suzy could do is wail in absolute pain as her screams echo throughout the forest, and Lancer was downright terrified of the Lightner's brutality. He never imagined anyone would be ruthless like Naruto is showing right now, which it pales in comparison to what Suzy did to him and Ralsei. And he thought Suzy was scary, but seeing the Lightner acting like this that's so unheroic is making Lancer fear him greatly, even more than him. Unbeknownst to everyone, Ralsei began to wake up from being knocked unconscious as she's starting to come around. Once she completely regained consciousness, Ralsei gasps in horror at seeing Naruto pummeling Suzy like there's no tomorrow, as Suzy's screams was filled with pain, agony, and fear from Naruto's brutality. Oh no, Ralsei mutters in anxiety as seeing Naruto being so unlike the one whom she enjoys spending time with. Back to Naruto, he stopped wailing Suzy as she looked so broken and critically injured beyond recognition, for her face is covered in bruises, swollen bumps, and blood dripping from her nose and mouth. Her hair is a mess and her clothes are ragged from his rage-filled attacks. It's even a wonder that he somehow withheld himself from using his glyphs and magic to hurt her. Fighting through the pain, Suzy barely opens one of her eyes to gaze at Naruto attacking her, and in that very moment she saw a mirror image of herself in his place with a sadistic smile on her face. Is this what they all see whenever I bully them? Someone who enjoys seeing them in pain for my own satisfaction, thought Suzy. For the first time in her life, she started to feel guilty of her actions. How many kids has she destroyed their self-esteem just to satisfy her own ego? How many of those kids no longer come to school out of fear of getting hurt again? The more she thought about it, the stronger the feelings of self-loathing took root in her heart. Finally, she's seeing what many others saw in her. I deserve all this. Seeing the results of his handiwork in putting Suzy in her place, Naruto looked extremely satisfied at what he did. Well, I think we're about done here. He releases Suzy, who collapsed on the ground, which only made her groaning in pure immeasurable pain that she couldn't scream. Suzy felt like some of her bones were broken from the beating she received. Let this be a lesson for you, Suzy. You mess with me, and you're gonna regret it. You hurt my friends, you're in for a world of hurt. I warned you many times in the past but you refused to listen. Since you wanted to play villain, I'll treat you like one as there will be no mercy from me. The next time you think you are above consequences, I'll give a quick and painful reminder that you are never above consequences. Do you understand me? Naruto asked while warning her if she ever tries to be a bully again, she's gonna pay. Suzy couldn't utter a word as she can only taste of her own blood and she was in too much pain. Did you not hear me? Do you understand? He asked again while he looks down at her. Why yes, I won't bully you or your friends or anyone else anymore. Just stop hurting me, Suzy begged as she doesn't want to experience this kind of hell she's been put through from the torturous beatings she's forced to endure. I heard that before. I don't think I believe you, said Naruto, not buying her plea. And no. I'm honest. I won't cause you trouble anymore. Please. Suzy continued to beg as she was trying to save herself. I highly doubt it. You bullies are all the same, trying to save face. Perhaps you haven't learned your lesson yet. Naruto started feeling the rage return as he cracked his knuckles once more. And no. No. Naruto, please. I'm sorry. I've learned my lesson. I hear you loud and clear. Please have mercy. Suzy was now terrified at seeing him cracking his knuckles, realizing he intends to continue hurting her further. Mercy? That's real rich coming from you. After all the times you tormented others, my friends, and me which led to you thrashing me so bad you expect me to show you mercy? You got a lot of nerve. How many tormented students you bullied asked you for mercy and yet you refused to listen? Did you show me mercy when you knocked Ralsei unconscious and started thrashing me just to make me learn a lesson? So what gives you the right to expect any? Especially from me. Naruto demanded, for his fury began to surface as his glowing left eye intensified, which left Suzy was quivering in absolute fear. Even Lancer was scared in place to move a spot. Look. I'm sorry. I know what I did was bad but I swear I won't do it again. I promise. Suzy tried to plead with him to show mercy to Suzy but this only further pissed Naruto off further. You don't deserve any mercy from me after all you done. In fact, I think you deserve another beating, only this time I'm aiming to break every bone in your body, Naruto said darkly, which made Suzy wide-eyed in pure terror. No. No. Please don't. No. Suzy screams out in panic as Naruto was reared a fist back and prepares to break one of her bones, but just as he was about to carry out his attack. Naruto. Please stop. Don't do this. Naruto found himself being interrupted as he was suddenly hugged from behind by none other than Ralsei, who's crying. Ralsei? He asked in shock to see she's finally back conscious, which seems to be calming him down, realizing that she's okay. Please stop doing this no more, Ralsei begs Naruto to stop attacking Suzy as seeing him like this broke her heart at how ruthless he's becoming and that terrifies her. But Ralsei, she hurt you, she hurt me. I can't let her continue doing this and think that she can get away with it. She needs to learn her lesson. Naruto tries to get Ralsei to understand that Suzy's actions have consequences that she tries to avoid taking responsibility, which he plans to rectify such a notion. Naruto, please. This is not like you. The Naruto I know wouldn't be this ruthless and cruel. You're supposed to be a hero. A hero who's destined to save the dark world. A hero who I enjoyed spending time with and looking up to. I want my hero back. Ralsei said, her tears streaming down her cheeks as she looks at Naruto in sadness. He couldn't say a word for he was stunned by her words and he didn't know how to respond, especially that last part. Please sniff no more sniff, Suzy's had enough. I want my Naruto back who's always calm and friendly, not who you are now. It pains me seeing you like this. I know what Suzy did is wrong and you have every right to be angry, but please, don't stoop to her level. This isn't you, not at all. Ralsei begs him to stop as Naruto struggles to control the fury from what Suzy has done, but it's slowly leaving him. Naruto looks at her and then back at Suzy, who's quivering a bit in fear from him, then at Lancer, who was paralyzed in terror at seeing him being this ruthless, which he realized what he has done. Is he really being that scary? How would Frisk and the others react if they saw this? Come back to me, please. I'm okay now, honest. He heard her pleading once more in hopes that he calms down while still shedding tears, which Naruto couldn't stand see her like this anymore. He took a deep breath and sighed heavily as his fury left him completely and finally calming down, much to everyone's relief. The red tint in his eyes also fading away as he turns to face Ralsei with a remorseful expression. I'm sorry, Ralsei. I let my anger get the better of me. I wish you didn't have to witness what I did, but it's too late now. But it's okay, I'm calm now. Naruto apologizes to Ralsei only for her to continue hugging him while still crying, which he hugged her back to calm her down. Suzy could only watch as Naruto and Ralsei hugging each other, with the former doing his best to calm her down. She would have said something snarky or rude, but after what she was forced to endure and almost getting crippled, she wisely chose to remain silent in order not to anger Naruto again. Lancer calmed down a bit but was still shaking at witnessing how ruthless Naruto was, but now Lightner has finally calmed down. He's relieved, shaken, but relieved. Anyway, Naruto manages to calm Ralsei down while wiping off her tears, which she couldn't help but blush a bit, but she was happy that Naruto has finally calmed down and is back to normal. Feeling better? He asked, which Ralsei nodded while still have tear stains on her eyes, but she'll be fine. Naruto smiled before looking at Suzy with a neutral expression which made her flinch as seeing him focusing his attention on her again. Seeing this made him realize just how much damage he did towards Suzy, which he doesn't feel bad about it, far from it, but it doesn't help that he almost crippled her in the process despite that she was going to do the same thing. He sighed tiredly before turning to his friend, Ralsei, can you go and heal Suzy for me, please? He asked, much to Suzy's surprise. Are you sure? Don't you want me to heal you first? Ralsei asked unsurely, since Naruto needs healing too. It's fine, I can wait. Just heal Suzy first. She needs it more than me. You can heal me once you're done with her, Naruto insisted, since he doesn't want Suzy to go unconscious at any moment as she could pass out from the pain. Oh okay, Ralsei reluctantly lets go of him and walks over to Suzy and started casting healing magic on her, which she was staring feel less pain as the healing magic worked its charm on Suzy, which she's back to normal as it fixed her up, but her strength is not restored. Once that was done, Ralsei came over to Naruto and started casting healing magic on him as well, and like with Suzy, he's fully healed and back to normal as if he getting a thrashing treatment from Suzy had never happened. Thanks, Ralsei, Naruto thanked her, grateful for healing him. You're very welcome, Ralsei smiles at him, which he hugs her that surprises her with a tinge of pink appearing on her cheeks, but she slowly hugged him back, happy that her friend is back with her again. Suzy examines herself and seeing that there's no bruises, scratches, or anything on her anymore after getting healed. She just looks at the two, having nothing to say as she doesn't want to ruin their moment, since all that would do is make Naruto angry again, so she just watch while remaining silent. She stiffens when Naruto looks at her with a stern expression after they finished having their tender moment, as he fully looks at her and walks over to stand in front of her while Ralsei followed and stood next to Naruto with a bit of worry. Alright, Suzy. Let this be known that I still do not trust you, and it's gonna take me a while to even consider giving you my trust after what you did, but I'm giving you another shot in rejoining me and Ralsei back on the team again. You lost fair and square, yet decided to play dirty and act like a sore loser, which showed your true colors that I personally put a stop to. I'm giving you a second chance to actually try to change if you're really serious about no longer being a bully. The only reason I'm saying this is because of Ralsei's sake. Nothing more. So I'm only gonna ask you this once and think very carefully on what you'll say. Are you gonna come back to us or still keep playing villain? Make your choice here and now. Naruto gave her two options to decide without breaking eye contact as he and Ralsei wait on her response. Suzy stares back at Naruto, for she knows she can't refuse nor has any say in this. After all, she now understands what it's like, how the kids felt when she bullied them and how her actions affected them, especially how her actions affect Naruto greatly, which resulted getting her peach handed to her. She doesn't want to experience what she had to endure to get his point across her mind, as she knows infuriating him further would spell trouble and unimaginable pain. That, and she now fears what would happen if she angers him by crossing the line again. Sigh. Fine, if I have to, I guess I'll go back to your side. Suzy reluctantly made her decision. But don't expect me to do anything but fight. I'm not gonna do just acting just because you ask. She gave out her demands as she'll join back, but it didn't mean she'll just stop fighting altogether no matter what he says, ask, or order. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Suzy with a hint of anger, which made Suzy step back in slight fear that she might have pushed her luck in overstepping her boundaries of angering him again. He stared at her for moments, which made Suzy feel uncomfortable and uneasy with this kind of tension he's giving out, but ultimately, Naruto just sighs at this before looking at her. Alright, fine, I'll respect your decision. But keep in mind I'll be watching your every move at all times from now on. Step out of line and there's gonna be trouble. Got it? Grr, whatever. I'm sorry, care to repeat that? Ugh. Alright, I get it. I understand, happy? Suzy asked, knowing that this is gonna SCK for her since she knows she can't risk angering him off. One wrong move and she's done. For now, Naruto said while folding his arms at her answer as she reluctantly walked towards him and Ralsei. He won't let her off easy, for he'll make sure that she'll fall in line. He swears it. He'll be damned if Suzy tries anything sneaky or going back on her word again. Nah, not by a long shot. Well, we're happy to have you back, Suzy. Ralsei said, who was at least happy that Suzy's finally back on the team. Yeah, let's just hurry up and go home, Suzy said. At least she's back on the team, but Ralsei has doubts if she already realized what a hero is like. I hope Naruto helps me teach Suzy how to be a hero. Ralsei thought, as maybe he could help Suzy realize that once he can trust her, of course. Anyway, the now reformed trio look at Lancer, who's been very quiet for a while now, became sad that Suzy wasn't on his team anymore. Suzy. Does this mean that we're not a team anymore? Lancer asked while looking down at the ground. His sadness made Ralsei want to say something, but she thought it better that Suzy should be the one who talked with Lancer. Suzy tried to answer, but she was completely speechless. Of course we're still a team. You can, she looked at Ralsei, then to Naruto, thinking, be part of the FUNN gang. She said, trying to cheer up Lancer. Wow. Me. In the FUNN gang. Lancer said, feeling flattered. Wait, if I hang out with the good guys, then, he said nervously while realizing something that was disturbing him, can we still have monogrammed track jackets? Yeah. Ralsei will make them. Suzy yelled with a smile. Ralsei barely spoke, speechless. Okay, sure. She answered, smiling despite her initial reaction while in thought, it's selfish of Suzy despite what she did to me and Naruto, especially what he did towards her, but if they are happy with it then I think it's fine. Suzy looked at her with doubting expression after she answered. Then she looked at Naruto as if she's asking his permission, which she's not, but it's better to be safe than sorry without getting him angry. Naruto saw the look she's giving him, which made him quirk an eyebrow at this, but he didn't care as he shrugged his shoulders. I don't mind. He can join us if it makes you happy. If Ralsei is fine with it then so am I, he answered, much to Suzy's secret relief, and even Lancer was thrilled that the Lightner has no issues with him joining. Ahahaha. Lancer joins the team. Lancer said and did the face of perfection. Could it be God himself? Suzy joined the party. Not gonna question why Lancer's face morphed into perfection itself, Naruto thought. As for the likes of him, he doesn't want to think about it from what he saw, otherwise stress himself out. Anyway, as Suzy and now Lancer joined the team walked onwards with Naruto taking the lead, he soon spotted a save point which he went over there to save real quick. After saving his save file, which showed they're currently at the forest thrashing room, much to him rolling his eyes at the name and his expression, they started to go in the direction of the castle but stopped when noticing that Lancer isn't exactly following them. Is he gonna follow us or what? Thought Naruto, confused as to why Lancer isn't following them. You can follow behind us, you know, said Ralsei politely when she noticed Lancer isn't following the group. Oh, okay. Lancer answered with a smile and tongue sticking out. Naruto just looks at Lancer for a moment before looking away to walk away a few feet along the pathway with Ralsei and Suzy following him, but he stopped to look behind him to see Lancer still hasn't moved. I noticed you aren't doing that, Ralsei said again while still smiling. Yeah. Lancer answered. Naruto just sighs at this and walks away with Ralsei and Suzy following him since he's not going to bother himself with this. Lancer will follow them if he wants to and he knows it. He then notices a lone doorframe that's near where the save point is at, but for some reason, he can't see through it. Guess it'll be available later, Naruto thought, as he probably can't access it until another area is unlocked to do so, so he and the gang resume where they're going as they left the thrashing room. The trio and Lancer, who ended up following them outside the trail, are walking down the path. The path now was almost linear with the strange sounds he's hearing coming from all directions. Typical red and purple trees were surrounding the path. While Naruto isn't bothered by the eerie sounds, it's making him feel tense about it, but he remains confident that he and his allies will be fine. Wow, this is cool. I've never been on such a big team before. Lancer admitted, looking perplexed. Don't you have a legion of various guys? Ralsei asks him in confusion. Yeah, but my dad doesn't let me swear on his Minecraft Christian server. What? My dad forced them to listen to me. So they don't actually like me very much, Lancer spoke, looking up towards the ceiling sadly. Are we just gonna pretend we didn't hear Lancer just say that his dad doesn't let him play on a Minecraft Christian server because he swears, much less learning his father knows and plays Minecraft? Thought Naruto with a sweat drop, as he was the only one who apparently heard what Lancer just said, but he guessed they didn't catch on to that. Heh, well, you don't need those clowns anymore. Just chill with us. Suzy said, smiling. Aye. Lancer replied, yelling. He was really happy to be with them. After a tiny walk, Suzy's stomach groaned and everyone looked at her. Man, I'm still hungry. It's like nothing I eat here matters. Shoulda stolen more money for the bake sale, I guess. Suzy smiled. Ralsei looked at her with a disapproval face, but she ignored it. But for Naruto, let's just say Suzy just looked away with a bit of sweat from the ominous glare he's giving her, which made Suzy feel intimidated by his gaze. I was thinking of baking a cake later, Ralsei told Suzy to cheer her up. She looked at her with a doubtful expression. What's the catch? You have to stop making fun of me, for one, Ralsei stated to her, looking to the floor. Suzy made fun of her a lot of times and she was really bothered by that. Especially her making Naruto losing his patience, which resulted in him snapping at her. Pass. Suzy yelled after Ralsei told her terms. Lancer immediately laughed with Suzy. Naruto wasn't happy that Suzy still intends to make fun of Ralsei, but what can he do right now other than making her stop altogether? But Ralsei wouldn't want to see his bad side again. So the only thing he can do right now is simply and reluctantly shrug his shoulders when she looks at him. Guess she will continue to make fun of me, Ralsei thought with an upset expression, but chooses not to let it bother her as the group enter the next area. They come across a tree which there's a dark candy that caught Lancer's attention. Look, Suzy. A candy tree. Hell yeah, said Suzy, smiling. The two quickly walked towards the tree while Naruto and Ralsei just watched them from the side as Suzy tried to reach one but couldn't get it. DMN, the last piece is too high to reach, she said, looking disappointed. Worry not, Suzy. For I have a special transformation for times like this. Lancer said with a goofy smile. Ah, really? Suzy asked, looking a little surprised by this. Watch and learn, team. Lancer said to the FUNN gang as he started to glow and explode, blinding everyone until they all saw Lancer in all fours, much to everyone's confusion. Look. Stool for me. All you did was put your hands on the ground, Ralsei said, looking confused by this. Hey, don't act so jealous, Suzy said, smirking. Just get the dark candy, already, Naruto said, slightly losing his patience with her poking fun at Ralsei. Plus he could have used a simple cubus glyph instead to help reach the dark candy. Suzy looked at him for a moment before grumbling, fine. She got on top on Lancer and grabbed the star candy fruit, then got off of Lancer. There, got it. Oh, tell me what it tastes like. Lancer said, waiting for her to eat it. Suzy looked at Lancer in confusion at this, and the same goes for both Naruto and Ralsei. Huh? You haven't had it before? Oh, I mean, I've always wondered what it's like, but I'm not allowed to pick it for myself, Lancer explained, looking sad. Suzy was silent for a moment from what Lancer had said, and after some thought, she gave the candy fruit to him. Well, you tell me what it tastes like. You're giving it to me? I thought you were hungry. Lancer looked unsurely at the fruit, then Suzy. Suzy wasn't sure why she gave up her dark candy, but for some reason, she felt like it while looking away. Changed my mind. Lancer looked happy as his tongue is sticking out. Ho. Candy joins the team. Candy. Alright already. Naruto couldn't help but almost laugh at this, but kept it to himself as the gang decided to keep on moving. As they walked together, Naruto fell deep into thought about what happened between him and Suzy when he was attacking her so seriously. That sense of liberation, like he finally let himself go free and no longer held himself back. It felt so good, and that's what's making him worry. He needs to get to the bottom of this when he gets back home. Naruto was disrupted from his thoughts by several taps on his shoulder, causing him to look to the side to see Ralsei, who apparently was checking up on him. What's the matter, Ralsei? Asked Naruto confusedly. Well, you weren't responding when I was calling out to you. Are you okay? You're not still hurt, are you? Asked Ralsei worriedly. Naruto waves a hand in assurance. I'm fine, really. Your healing spells patched me up well. However, Ralsei wasn't convinced. I have to make sure. Please hold still. She reaches for Naruto's garments, much to his surprise and budding embarrassment. What are you doing? The boy panics as he tries to peel off the hands grabbing the collar of his garment, but having trouble doing so. Seems like Ralsei is strong when she puts her mind into things. Making sure that you're fully healed, since your clothes might be concealing injuries that we're not aware of, Ralsei explains. I told you that I'm fine. He struggles to resist. I'm not convinced until I see for myself. Ralsei continues to persist. Please stop. No, I won't. Hey, you two, Suzy called out to Naruto and Ralsei, who turned to her in confusion, then noticing her looking away from them awkwardly. If you're gonna be doing that kind of thing, at least do it somewhere we can't see. Confused at her statement, Naruto and Ralsei observe themselves to see that the former is struggling to prevent his garments from being taken off, while the latter is doing just that, creating a rather SNSL scenario from an outsider's perspective. Realization finally dawns upon them as they instantly jump away from each other with their faces beet red in embarrassment. Oh, I'm so sorry, I was so concerned that I didn't notice what I was doing. Ralsei exclaimed in embarrassment. Naruto felt just as embarrassed. It's okay, I know you were just worried about me. Let's keep moving. Geez, is this really the guy that beat me? Suzy mutters to herself quietly so he doesn't hear her. Gahaha, their faces are redder than any red thing I've seen all over the place. Lancer laughs in amusement. After that awkward moment, they kept moving along the pathway until Lancer decided to break the silence to say something. Just walking alongside you guys, it feels nice. Like I'm doing something important, said Lancer thoughtfully. Ralsei beams in response. That's because you're alongside the Lightners, Lancer. Our purpose, the Darkner's purpose, is to assist them. It's the only way to truly feel fulfilled. I see now. It explains why Ralsei gets so happy whenever we do something together, and why she got so worried for me when I started acting like that, thought Naruto. Lancer appeared rather unsure about Ralsei's words. But my dad hates Lightners, he wants to. Does your dad seem happy? I am not so sure. Could it be that Lancer and his father don't exactly get along, thought Naruto curiously. Hey, let's ditch this whole purpose talk, Suzy interjected. Naruto notices that she seems to ease Lancer's feelings of discomfort. You're probably just happy that you ate a weird berry. Lancer immediately cheers up with a wide grin. Yeah, I'm still boozed from the juice. I mean, look, I'm not from around here and hanging out like this it kinda feels, you know. Suzy felt awkward on how to finish her sentence. Happy? Ralsei suggested meekly. PSSH, nah. Suzy looks away with a scoff. The group continue on their way and didn't hear her mutter something else, maybe. The group continue walking when they saw something in the distance which appears to be a card-themed castle which Ralsei and Lancer immediately recognizes, albeit for different reasons. Look everyone, we can see the castle, said Ralsei happily. Yes, that's where I live. Lancer adds with a happy grin, but then he became nervous. Me and my dad too. Nice to see that we're almost at our destination, said Naruto. What's that black thing coming out of the top of the castle? Asked Suzy, gesturing towards the pulsing pillar of black energy rising from the castle. That's the fountain I was telling you about, Suzy. If we can get there, you and Naruto will finally be able to go home, said Ralsei happily. Suzy scoffed. Geez, took long enough. Need I point out that it wouldn't have been the case you hadn't run off, caused so much trouble, even attacked us, which would have saved so much time. Naruto stares at Suzy pointedly as he said this. Suzy couldn't help but look away nervously, unveiled to refute the facts thrown at her. Let's just get a move on. Come on, Lancer. Lancer didn't seem to respond, silently following them until he paused for a moment, then asked them about something. Are you guys sure there isn't another way home? There aren't any, for I have sought out many options but found none besides this one, Ralsei explains to Lancer. But the fountain is being guarded right now. If you try to go there, Lancer had an expression on his face, you might get hurt, and... Suzy quirks an eyebrow at Lancer's behavior. What? Come on, Lancer. No. One's gonna be able to beat us. If anyone gets in our way, all we gotta do, she raises a clenched fist with a grin, is crush them. Naruto rolls his eyes at her words. Why am I not surprised? But what if you had to fight? Asked Lancer nervously. Everybody bleeds, right? No need to worry yourself to death about it. Whoever stands in the way is gonna get the beatdown, said Suzy assuredly. But Suzy. Lancer, what's bugging ya? Suzy is finding Lancer's behavior to be most unusual of him, given the time spent together. I think, Lancer took a few steps forward ahead of the group, I think I need to go. Suzy blinks in confusion. When are you gonna be back? Never. Then he ran off, much to the surprise of the group, especially Suzy. Hey, wait a second. Lancer. Why are you acting so weird? Suzy ran after Lancer in the hopes of finding out why he's acting this way. Suzy, wait. Ralsei didn't hesitate to run after the two, leaving Naruto behind. Guys, hold up. Naruto called out to them, but they were out of earshot. This isn't good, they're heading for the castle and alerting the guards. I gotta catch up to them. Naruto immediately took off after them. Running as quickly as he could to catch up to them, Naruto saw many red ribbons beginning to appear along the way, which only made it all the more urgent for him to catch up to the Ralsei and Suzy. The Lightners are approaching the castle. Get them, one of the red ribbons declares. They proceed to launch volleys of white diamond-shaped bullets towards him. TCH, I don't have time for this. Naruto calls upon his Sakabato and proceeds to deflect the incoming projectiles one-handedly as he continues to run, while also darting from side to side in order to evade as well. There they are, even more red ribbons appear to join the rest in attacking him and the others. Not good, we'll be outnumbered at this rate. Naruto mutters to himself as he pushes forward at greater speeds when his soul pulses in alert of numerous attacks coming at him from behind, and so he quickly reacts in response. Scutum. He conjures a shield glyph to hover behind him as it deflects the incoming projectiles, protecting him from harm. Eventually he finally caught up with Ralsei and Suzy, as they themselves had also caught up with Lancer, who's almost at the castle gates. Lancer. Suzy calls out, but Lancer went inside and immediately slams the gates shut, barring them from entering. Hey, what are you doing? Guys, we need to get out of here, BEF dash. Naruto tries to rally the duo but he was too late as they were soon surrounded by the red Rudens with no way for them to escape. We've cornered them, said one of the red Rudens as numerous diamond-shaped bullets hover overhead, ready to be launched down at the trio. W8. Ralsei tries to speak but was ignored as they all attack simultaneously. I don't think so. Naruto slams both palms onto the ground as he calls upon his determination to generate a domed barrier of red energy around them to defend against the forthcoming onslaught of attacks, however. Dude, cracks are starting to show up, said Suzy while nervously looking at the aforementioned cracks appearing on the barrier. I know that but, Naruto mutters in response as sweat drips from his face, struggling to maintain the barrier but the onslaught of attacks is wearing it down faster than he could reconstruct it due toll taken on his body from the previous battles. Naruto, please hold on, said Ralsei worriedly. I'm trying. Crack. Naruto grits his teeth in frustration, come on. Crack. I gotta hold out. Crack. Just a by dash. Shatter. The barrier could no longer endure and shatters like glass, leaving the trio vulnerable to the attacks as they were struck from all sides, rendering them unconscious with Naruto being the last to get knocked out. No, we were so close, those were Naruto's thoughts before finally blacking out as the red Rudens approached their still forms. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 11. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video, till then goodbye.